the Mayor and City Council of the City of College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a full quorum present with council members McKenzie, Karn, Arnold, and Gay. So I will call the meeting to order at 8:21 p.m., subject to my continuing objections to Ordinance 2024-01 and the omnibus motion. This body passed the first week of January in 2024. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor William Wallace will be doing our invocation this evening.
Father God, we come before you tonight, Lord. First and foremost, for all things, we say thank you. We thank you for life, for health, for strength. We thank you for waking us up this morning, oh God. We thank you for just even considering the thought of waking us up this morning. We realize that in so many ways, as people, we're undeserving, but we thank you for your grace that is sufficient. So you look beyond our faults and you see our need. And we are here. And so, God, we pray now, God, that you would just be in this chamber tonight. God, we're going to need you. We're going to need you in a major way. And so we just thank you for your presence to rest in this house. We thank you for the peace that surpasses all understanding. Lord, we thank you that you would subdue every thought, every word that we speak. Let it be called under subjection of your Holy Spirit right now. God, help us to orchestrate business on behalf of your people with level heads. Set ourselves aside, set our own agendas aside, set our own selfish ambitions aside, Lord. And Lord, we just ask that we can come together and have a conversation on behalf of these, your people, because ultimately that's what we're here for, to care for your people, to love your people, to show concern and genuine compassion for your people. And Lord, in all things, we give you all the glory, honor, and praise. Do your name. Before we go, Lord, anything that isn't like you, we eradicate it from this place in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents of College Park. I'm going to read our civility pledge, which reads, "The way we govern ourselves is often as important as the positions we take. Our collective decisions will be better when different views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and consider. All people have the right to be treated with respect, courtesy, and openness. We value all input. We commit to conduct ourselves at all times with civility and courtesy to each other." I'll remind anyone who's speaking this evening, please remember the civility pledge and that the City of College Park has an ordinance for unruly public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and visitors to College Park. I'm here to do a short safety briefing in event of a fire. If the alarm goes off, please exit the building calmly and safely. Please assemble outside. Follow the direction of our public safety officials who will guide you to an assembly point. If there is anybody who needs assistance, please assist those getting out. Please grab all your belongings and do not come back into the facility unless you're told to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Additions, deletions, amendments, or changes to the agenda?
Yes.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
I have issues with the consent agenda, and I'd like to have every item of the consent agenda moved into the regular session agenda for tonight.
Items 8A through 8.
8A through 8Q.
Okay. All right, so they will go behind the regular business that's already there. So that's a lot of letters. We're probably in the double letters there in regular business.
Alrighty.
And hold on, I'm sorry. Councilmember Karn?
Well, I had some discussion as well on some of these agenda items. There are several that I did want to remove to discuss.
They're all being removed.
I just removed them all.
Well, I had some particular numbers, but
They're all getting removed. We're going to talk about them all. And we need to add approval of the executive session minutes from our last meeting. And that can go, there's going to be, that would be 14A and B, because we'll have to approve the executive session minutes that come out of, Mr. Denmark, is that amenable?
Yes, ma'am, and if you would be so kind, Mayor, for the record, we are now being asked to state the reason for why we're adding items to the agenda. And so I think just a very brief statement of why it's necessary to add that item or any other item that a councilman wants to add to the agenda. I think we should state that for the record.
All right, so we were unable to approve the executive session minutes from our meeting on May 5th, is that right?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Because we lacked a quorum at the time to approve those executive session minutes. So if we could do 14A.
Mayor,
Yeah.
is it possible, since it is old business, if we could make it to the top of the agenda?
We can put it there. We can put it, approval of the executive session minutes on, we can do it right after we approve the agenda. We can make it number 4. That's fine.
I disagree with that. I think it should stay within the executive session, since it
old
is
bu- it's
executive
old
session.
business.
Well, all right. So,
Can I?
Councilmember Arnold?
Yeah, I want to add old business to the agenda for us to take care of before we get into our new business. And so after we approve the agenda, have item number 4 be the old business.
I would like to say that I think that this is a change that probably is unethical due to the fact that we do not have old business on the agenda. If this is a decision that we want to do in the future, the agenda needs to be amended completely. We do not have an item that says old business on the agenda. It needs to stay exactly where it is, as the mayor has said, under executive session 14A and B.
I really don't care where we approve the executive session minutes. They just need to be approved. So,
Then they're gonna be put at or before the approval of the agenda.
okay, well, we have to approve the agenda. So if you want to go for number 4, that's fine.
And may I say that you're asking for a motion to approve the executive session, is that what you're saying?
Just that would be a motion to approve the executive session minutes from May 5th, just the minutes, because they were not approved because we did not have a quorum to do it when we came out of executive session.
Okay, also, I had one other thing. Mayor, I guess this isn't a addition to the agenda, but under remarks of citizens, I understand we have staff from Congressman Scott's office that wanted to come up for a brief request. Generally, we put them queued up at the beginning of remarks.
Madam Mayor.
I'm sorry, I still want my item added to the agenda to take care of old business.
Okay, so do you want that to be number 5
Yes,
after
ma'am.
the approval of the executive session minutes?
Yes.
Old business? And to Mr. Denmark's point,
The actions that we were taking out of executive session from our last meeting,
and why is it being added to the agenda?
because we didn't get a chance to take care of our business from the last meeting,
Because we didn't have a quorum?
that part.
Okay.
And what are those items?
We'll talk about it when we get to it on the agenda. Thank
I
you.
can't approve it unless I know what the old business is. So what is the old business that we are putting from executive session?
As I mentioned, the business that we were taking care of out of executive session during the last meeting.
So there should be motions. So what is the business?
I thought I
Wait,
heard,
hold.
approval of the minutes. was
Yes,
the
that's
reason.
number 4.
Is that what?
And I think Councilmember Arnold is talking about additional business coming out of executive session from the 5th.
So we need to know what those items are. How can we add things onto the agenda if we don't know what the items are?
Okay, so what is the business out of?
The business was stated to discuss the motion that may have been made from the consensus that was in the executive session that wasn't made because there was no quorum.
And what is that? I was not here.
Okay, so we're not
so
ready to go back and forth.
what are- what
We're
are-
gonna
what
vote
are-
on
what are the
the
motions?
motion
Hold
to
on,
add
hold
it,
on.
and then we'll vote on the motion to add
See,
it.
why does everything have to be so
wait,
behind the
stop,
scenes?
stop,
Why
stop.
can't we
Both of you
be
are talking at
open
the same
right
time.
now?
Hold on,
I'm
hold
gonna
on,
make-
wait. Councilmember Gay?
I'm gonna make a motion to add that item as right after the approval of the agenda.
And what is that item? I think the public deserves to know what we are adding, and myself as a legislator, I need to know what are we adding from executive session as old business.
As a motion. Call for the
So
motion,
I just want everyone who's watching to see this, to see this.
Madam Mayor.
Lack of
I'd like to
transparency.
call for the motion, please.
Okay, so there's approval of the executive session minutes, there's old business at number 5. All of the consent agenda items have been moved to go after our regular items, and Councilmember Arnold, I know you called for it, but I was actually gonna say that we needed to remove 5E as well. Are you amenable to removing 5E?
Yes.
Okay.
City Attorney, this is one I hadn't come across here, up here, so where are we on? I'm fine with the, executive session approval of the minutes. But where are we on the other question, whatever have you, in terms of adding anything additionally from the, previous meeting here?
As I understand it, Councilwoman Arnold mentioned that there was a discussion in the May 5th executive session that would have resulted in a motion coming out of executive session. However, that did not occur owing to a lack of a quorum, and she wants to put that motion or that business on the agenda this evening as old business.
Well, is it something that we can discuss in the executive session this evening? Is that possible?
Especially since I wasn't there, and they're not telling us what the motion is for some reason. So I think that we need to discuss it in executive session and come back out and vote.
Well,
I'm not
well,
amenable to putting it on executive session. I think that we should take care of the old business at the beginning before we get into our new business.
How can we take care of
All
old
right,
business?
all right.
Mayor,
We're not,
you
we're not
have-
gonna
Mayor,
argue, wait,
Mayor,
hold
you're
on.
gonna have to
Yeah,
call
yeah, no,
for
and
order.
then.
I had
yeah.
already called for the
And-
motion.
Yes, I understand.
Thank you.
Councilmember Arnold, you made a motion. Is there a
I did.
second?
Can I say one other?
Is, I,
Hold on,
She made
Council.
a motion, Mayor.
She made a motion
is there a
to,
second?
to
And I
amend
second
the,
that
hold on,
motion.
hold on. She made a motion to amend the agenda. Madam Clerk, are you clear on all the amendments?
No, Madam Mayor. That's what I was just about to ask
All
you.
right.
And actually, I do have a couple of requests for removal from Mr. Hicks for 2 agenda
Well,
items
we're not-
at the appropriate
We're
time.
not talking about that at the moment. We're
Okay,
talking
yes.
specifically about.
Wait, no, we're talking about it all. We're talking about it all, so just hold on one second. Hold on.
Currently, I have the motion from Mayor Pro Tem to remove items 8A through 8Q and place them on the regular agenda after the regular agenda items. I did not get a second on that.
That is not a motion.
Wait,
Yeah.
Councilmember Arnold made the motion for all of it,
Okay.
so.
No,
Thank-
I did
thank you
not,
for
mine's not a
clarifying.
motion. To
Okay.
remove something from the agenda is not a motion. If any member of the governing body has a problem with an agenda item, it cannot be considered a consent agenda item. Consent is about all of us giving consent.
I'm glad we got that straight.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
so
I call for the motion on the agenda for the items that we had already added and removed.
okay. So
Give me 1 second. I'll
adding
just 1 second.
those items to the regular agenda and approval after this agenda item, it would be approval of the agenda.
Of the number 3 is approval of the agenda. Number 4 is approval of executive session minutes. Number 5 would be old business.
Old business. And a second on that, Madam Mayor?
I believe Councilmember Gay made
Okay.
that second.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Discussion?
Discussion, okay, the discussion again is that I do not see how, first of all, I am very disturbed with the lack of transparency that apparently there are members sitting up here of the governing body that know good and well what they want a motion to be, but they want to put us in a position to vote for something that it's just like going to vote for the President of the United States and you don't know who's on the ballot. How crazy is that? So to expect us as a governing body, I don't care what it is, if people don't have the gut and the galls to speak up and say whatever it is that they want to do rather than hiding their hands, I can't respect that. And I definitely, like I said, we could be voting on something that has to do, that's going to save the city. It could be some type of a serious emergency situation that had to be handled in executive session. But I am sitting amongst a group of individuals that would rather play games with the public, put things on an agenda that the public has no idea of, and in addition, that they would have the gall to, at this point in time, not let the public know what your legislators are about to vote on. This is who you voted for, everyone, and it's a shame.
Councilmember Carr?
Well, I'll just say that I was in executive session, I think on the 5th, and there was some discussion, but my suggestion would be if we go into executive session after this meeting, there may be some additional information that everybody needs to be aware of that we could discuss a little more fully in terms of coming back to an old agenda item without all the complete information. That's just my suggestion.
Any further discussion?
I call for the vote.
All those in favor of approving the additions, deletions, and amendments and changes to the agenda?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Councilmember Carn, was your vote?
Opposed.
All right, I'm in favor, so the motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Y'all see that, right?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. There's discussion on every item. Go right ahead.
Oh, so we're gonna do these items individually here?
This is just approving the agenda.
I understand that, but we're gonna remove some of the items off the consent agenda and discuss them individually?
Everything.
Everything.
That wasn't a vote. That
All
wasn't
right.
voted. That was just a
Okay.
decision.
All right. Okay. All those in favor of approval of the agenda?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
All right, I'm in favor, so the agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the executive session minutes from May 5th?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
No, I said no.
Well, I asked for all
Oh,
those in
okay,
favor.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, so council members Carn, Arnold, and Gay are in favor. Councilmember McKenzie is opposed. The motion passes. Old business.
Mayor, on old business, I have a motion.
Yes, sir?
Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
at this time, I would like to move to immediately terminate the city manager's contract with cause pursuant to Section 2, Item 8, due to the willful misconduct that has caused harm to the employer. This includes actions constituting dishonesty in the use of city property, benefits, and interactions with officials of the city of College Park. Conduct not becoming of this office and willingly disregarded the ethical standards, including apparent conflicts of interest. Furthermore, I move to appoint Ms. Lindell Miller as interim city manager effective immediately.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion?
All right, so now we see what that was all about.
Mayor Pro Tem, go right ahead.
Yes, first of all, and I guess, like I said, we already know how this is going to go down. Everyone, I just now heard Roderick Gay, very funny, bring accusations against a person with, and again, this is what I'm hearing now. And those charges and those accusations, those allegations, I'm hearing those for the first time. I think it's really dangerous and on a really slippery slope to accuse persons, especially since I have been in that seat and been accused of things that I did not do. I think that when we decide that we want to bring allegations, especially something that could destroy a person's career, family, life, that we better make sure that we can prove it. Better make sure we have a preponderance of evidence to support that. I also understand that the city manager is under FMLA, and so if you want to go ahead, terminate somebody that's on Family Medical Leave Act, go ahead. All I see right now, more importantly, well, not even more important, let's just add this on. We're in the middle of the budget cycle. Yeah. We've got to put a budget together for the city of College Park. And who is it that oversees the process of a budget for a city? The city manager. So even if the persons that sit up here feel the need to remove an individual for office, it would have been nice for them to at least do what they did with Darnetta Tyus when they decided to fire her for whatever reason that we'll never know, and waited till at least we had the opportunity to vote on this budget for 2025-26. So here again, and I know we'll be on the news probably tonight, here again we see the illustrious leaders of the City of College Park government doing stupid stuff, not thinking. And I'm aware of Miss Lindell Miller because she worked for us and she does procurement. We have persons in this city right now who could handle being a city manager. But why would Roderick Gay, of all people, make a motion for a person that does procurement to become our city manager at the same time while saying there's a conflict of interest for our current city manager? And you're going to hire somebody while you're in the midst of a botanical garden project and a dog park and everything else, and you want to do split procurements. So you bring a procurement person on to lead the city of College Park. Wow, smart people. I want everybody to go home, research, Google. Ward 1, do your homework. I'm not really opposed to change. I just believe, like the Bible says, there's a time for it. And this is not the time. And if you're going to be so smart to replace a godly person who is not perfect with somebody that does not have experience in this area at such a time as this, these are the people that you voted for. And I rest my voice.
Councilmember Carn?
Well, I'll say a couple of things here. Yes, we are in mid-budget. Open enrollment is at hand and around the corner for our city employees. Now, I respect all of my colleagues, from the mayor to everyone across this dais in terms of decisions we have to make on behalf of this city. All of the decisions we make are serious. Now, I did hear some kind of allegations of some sort or another. If there are allegations, and this is just my opinion, I think that a hearing of some sort is probably in order for something along those lines. I also believe that, there's no city manager or city administrator that's perfect. We're all imperfect, and we try to move this city forward. I think we've done a good job moving this city forward with a lot of progressive initiatives, and we've made a lot of progress. Things have certainly settled down from last year when there were a lot of issues going on. I think we made it through those following the guidelines and the rule of law, following our ordinances, and doing the best that we can, working with our community partners, working with our state partners. I do believe that a vote of this magnitude, if a vote's going to take place, I do believe that it should be split into two separate votes, because I kind of heard a combination of two different motion requests there. So I would ask that that motion be amended to split what I feel are materially two separate issues and items. Now, that would just be my suggestion for an amendment to split that vote. Still have the vote. That's part of our jobs up here. But I think we need to look at both of these separately. And then if we're going to move forward, we're going to move forward. But I think both of them are a bit, significantly separate items. So that's my comment, and I would hope someone might be amenable to at least splitting this so we could take a look at this thing a little closer, whereas there may be some differences in one half of the motion as opposed to the other half of the motion.
Councilmember Gay, you're amenable to the amendment?
No.
All right. So it would not be a friendly amendment?
No.
Well, I would like to offer the friendly amendment to the second of the motion as well, if the second is amenable.
No.
All right.
Well, he wasn't the second, actually.
Oh,
I would offer-
to the seconder,
Yes.
to Councilmember Arnold.
No, I'm going to call for the vote.
Is there any additional discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
I'm in favor. The motion passes. Councilmember Gay, Councilmember Arnold, and I are in favor. Councilmembers McKenzie and Carn are opposed. Is there a motion to approve the special called minutes from April 24th?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Is there a motion to approve the workshop session minutes from May 5th?
Move.
Thank you, Councilmember Kinsey. Is there a second?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Is there a motion to approve the regular session minutes from May 5th?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous.
Next item, 5A, consideration of an action on a request for a proclamation for the City of College Park to observe Juneteenth on June 19th, 2025. This item is sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Jamel McKenzie.
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Arnold, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous.
Agenda item 5B, consideration of and action on a request for a proclamation for Beulah Lindsay. This item is sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Jamel McKenzie.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous.
Agenda item 5C, consideration of and action on a request for a proclamation for Dr. Sabrina Willis. This item is sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Jamel McKenzie.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous.
Agenda item 5D, proclamation for John Azar, sponsored by Councilman Joe Carn.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, is any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 5E needed to come off.
Next agenda item, remarks of citizens.
All right.
Mr. Haynes from Congressman Scott's office, he had a brief request.
First individual, Dana Allen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Madam Clerk, we have a representative from,
Oh, my sincere apologies.
that's okay, but don't start the clock. We'll let this, come on.
Hi, good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here on behalf of my boss, Congressman David Scott. As you guys are well aware, there is a bridge being named in the Congressman's honor. And the Congressman just wanted me to come here to express his continued warm appreciation and his wishes to agree to the June 16th date that was previously mentioned. That works for him in his schedule specifically, is what he wanted me to share with you all tonight, specifically because the House is in such turbulent times. It's difficult for them to get confirmed periods off, and this is one of those few occasions that he, his family, and his staff and supporters can come and be there and be present. I just want to again express the Congressman's deep sincerity for this. He loved representing the city of College Park in Congress, and he is sad every day that you guys are no longer in the 13th district. But I appreciate you guys for letting me speak just a few seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
First speaker, Dana Allen.
Is Dana Allen here? All right, next.
Chinua Turner.
Greetings, council members. How are you? So I wanted to come up here just to give a comment on my behalf. I work with Sage Hands International, and we've actually been part of Chelsea Gardens, which you've heard about today. And I just wanted to give my testimony, being somebody who actually is a part of the day-by-day of going out to actually move the residents. And I just wanted to say that seeing the conditions that they live in, seeing the things that they face on a day-by-day basis, I think that the all-hands-on-deck approach that we've been trying to take with Sage Hands is actually what's most beneficial for the residents and the actual community members, and that I appreciate the opportunity to actually be working towards a goal that actually benefits my community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tyler Blue.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Motley Broom, council members, city managers, Madam Clerk, staff, and resident members of College Park and friends. My name is Tyler Blue, and I'm a resident of Grove Park, Legacy Community, and Historical District in Bankhead. I am a Army veteran, and I am disabled. I worked in corporate America for over 30 years, and now I am disabled. Living in Bankhead, I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially in our communities involving our homes, and especially mine. I needed to be linked up with a service that provided my home with free services because of my condition and my disability. Living in Atlanta, I was connected with Meals on Wheels of Atlanta and was connected with Sage Hands. When I met Mr. Watson, I felt that I needed to get just some steps done in my yard, in my porch, and I needed my deck steps replaced. When meeting Mr. Watson, he immediately identified that my house on the exterior was really in a disarray and was unsaved from my step porch and my deck, which was falling apart, and even my privacy fence. What happened was that he immediately got his staff together, and they not only replaced my falling deck, they replaced my privacy fence and even all of my porch steps, which I am grateful and have tons of gratitude for Sage Hands giving me that assistance. When staff did come, I have to say that their work ethics and their craftsmanship was outstanding. If you would see my home at 780 Francis Place, you will see that what they did to my home is now a light in my community. In conclusion, there are hundreds and thousands of veterans, disabled people, and seniors like me who need assistance from an organization like Sage Hands and Mr. Watson. They are extraordinary in their craftsmanship, and what I like the most is that even though I was assisted, I felt that I was respected and I had pride and dignity when I now look at what I call my house in Bankhead. I can say now that it is my home, and I'm very appreciative for what Sage Hands has done, and this service is definitely needed in our community and throughout Atlanta. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Lakeisha W. You're signed up next to speak.
Yes, you would speak now, ma'am.
Pardon me, because I'm a little on the nervous side. But I am Lucretia Williams, and I am a homeowner here in Hawthorne Station. I wanted to bring awareness to the increased crimes that we are experiencing in our neighborhood. We have been told that the crime rates have decreased, and we have been given private security. And just 2 days after being notified of this private security, we witnessed an attempted robbery, broad daylight at 4:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. Today, en route here to this meeting, a neighbor was getting into his vehicle, and there's a message that popped up that says theft attempted, and that was just maybe a couple of hours ago. I would like to know, what is the evaluation, or how you guys constitute what is the definition of a crime? Because I want to know, how are you calculating the crime rates? If Ward 2 is down by 15% and Ward 4 is down by 25%, we want to know, how are those numbers happening when we are experiencing crime right now? To our understanding, there are not sufficient police force to make the proper arrests. We have experienced some where they are right now going through the hardship of identity theft, and they have put their homes up for rent and no longer living in it, but paying the mortgage on it. This is happening right now. The whole community is on 10 in terms of being nervous, afraid to have their garage doors up because this assailant has not been caught. So if it's at all possible, these numbers are not released to the public, and we would like to have some type of explanation as to how the numbers are calculated. How is the crime rates determined? Because this doesn't make sense. The math isn't mathing for us, and we're not accepting those numbers to be accurate. So if there's any type of way that you guys can give us some transparency on that, we would appreciate it. In addition, we did, again, was told that there was some private security that was offered to Hawthorne Station. In the event that this actual incident happened on Saturday, that security service was not on the premises at all. When I asked the police officer, he's not even aware of the security firm that's supposed to be partnered with them. So we don't know what is the true accuracy of this said contract. So we would like to have some input on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sasha Robinson. Okay, next is Jarvis Carr. Okay, Pastor William Wallace.
Well, last time I was up here, all hell broke loose. My name is Pastor William Wallace. I serve as the servant leader of the Church of Atlanta. Maybe new to this city, but did not come casually. I came sent. I speak not just on behalf of a church, but on behalf of a kingdom, because I love this city too much to lie to it. So I ask one question tonight. Do we care? There's an urgent need for reform, not just in one area, but across the city, because while some parts of College Park shine, others are still in shadows. We celebrate Main Street, and we should, but we must also remember Godby Road and the Old National Corridor, where crime is common, where addiction and prostitution are systemic, where mental health struggles are overlooked, where our young wander without direction and the vulnerable cry out for help. We need spiritual revival and collaborative restoration. The city and the church must lock arms, not just to respond, but to rebuild. And then there's the Hawthorne Station, hardworking families who bought into the promise of home ownership, only to feel unheard, unsafe, and forgotten. They didn't buy into chaos, they bought into hope. So I ask again, do we care? Chelsea Gardens was just the flashpoint, the alarm, the moment long-standing issues demanded attention. What we're dealing with is not just a housing issue, it's a justice issue, a system issue. We've all heard the stories: a mother without power warming bottles in the dark, grandmother with using hotel rooms for her grandkids to bathe, young man who cannot move because of unpaid utility debt, families denied again and again, drained by non-refundable fees. These are not isolated events. They're symptoms, signs of a system comfortable overlooking the vulnerable. Pretending to help while leaving people helpless isn't compassion, it's cruelty. Let's talk about what really happened. Yes, a nonprofit was brought in. Yes, I've spoken with its leader. And let me be clear, I stand with him. His heart is right, his work is honorable. But the issue isn't who was hired, it's why the system behind it stays silent. The owner of Chelsea Gardens agreed on record to pay all moving costs. He agreed to forgive all balances. He agreed to return deposits. And I can only pray that he is in fact doing so. Let's not call it benevolence when it's actually a bailout. Let's not protect the powerful while burdening the broken. And now pressure builds, and the city manager is being made the face of the fallout in the media. Let me say this clearly. We will not allow the sacrifice of a righteous man on the altar of political optics. This wasn't one person's failure. This was a collective silence, a calculated avoidance, and a system that's learned how to delay what it doesn't want to deal with. If we want healing, we must own the harm. I'm not here to condemn, I'm here to correct. Not to burn bridges, but to build better ones. Many of us pray in public, hold religious titles, quote scriptures at events. We worked on clergy boards and taught youth ministries and all kinds of things. Let's not forget Micah 6:8. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with God. If faith doesn't fuel our policy, it's performance. If mercy comes with a price, it's manipulation. And if justice only protects the powerful, it's not justice. Still, I believe in this city. I believe in this moment. I believe heaven is holding out a hand, not to punish, but to lift. But before we rebuild, let's address the elephant in the room, the leadership, not the positions, the posture. So I ask, do we even like each other? Or do we at least love this city enough to work together despite our differences? This work is too big for ego, too important for offense, too urgent for dysfunction. We don't need new faces, we need new focus. We don't need changed personnel, we need changed posture. Let's reset the tone. Let's restore the unity. Let's lead with humility. So what do? We repent, we reset, and we rebuild. Let's start with providing relief, real relief, immediate financial aid, utilities, deposits, application fees. Launch a resident restoration fund through churches and community partners. Be transparent and just. Release all Chelsea Garden documentation. Hold the property owner accountable. Empower, don't evict. Host job fairs. Provide mental health and housing support. Build a community table. Form a resident advisory board. Bring churches and grassroots leaders into decision making. My personal favorite, number 5, let's build something different. At the Church of Atlanta, we declared it boldly. Let's build something different. Let's build a city where compassion isn't delayed, where justice isn't for sale, and where government and church walk side by side, not in competition, but in covenant. I'm going to leave you with this. My grandmother had a pressure cooker. It hissed and rattled and warned. I asked her, why do you keep using it? It sounds so dangerous. She said, because it gets the job done. But you better be paying attention. If you ignore it, it'll blow. College Park is the pressure cooker. The hissing has started, the shaking is real, but this doesn't have to explode. This can be the moment we made history for the right reasons, the moment we answered the sound instead of silencing it. Let this be the moment where city and church walk shoulder to shoulder, where we break cycles and built covenant, where we decided to build something different together. So I ask, not for applause, not for approval, but as a man on assignment, do we care? Because if we do, it's time to act. But if we don't, heaven will. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Amen, 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 amen. Amen, 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 amen. Amen.
Dante Moore.
Hey, I want to say thank you, council, for letting me speak.
Sir, can you
First
just
thing
make
I
sure
wanna
your,
say-
your voice
Oh,
is, can you
sorry.
just make sure, thank you.
My name is Dontavius Moore. First thing I want to say, thank you, council, for letting me speak. I want to say thanks to Sage Hands for helping me in this situation in the name of God and Chelsea Garnes. Second, I want to say thank you to Roger Gay for the statement you made earlier. You have my full support. And I also want to thank the mayor for bringing water today, for we have something to drink. I do want to say that. Another thing I want to say, this letter I received from Chelsea Garnes management last week on Wednesday, it says, please be advised that the water in your building will be disconnected on the 5th through the 19th, through the 5th through the 23rd, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., while the plumbers work to repair the damaged water lines throughout the community. We appreciate your patience while we work to repair these issues as quickly as possible. Then it says, if you are in need of water during this time, please contact the leasing office. Sincerely, Chelsea Garden Apartments management team. This morning, I went to the rent office and the manager didn't have any water. I went again at 3 o'clock p.m. She was not in the office, and I tried again at 4 o'clock, and she said she did not have any water. 5 minutes later, she gave me some water. I'm with a team called Party for Socialism and Liberation, and we have a chat line, and I was the only one that received water, and I believe that wasn't right because there's other people that need to drink water too, because they cut the water off on continuously, and the water comes out brown, so I don't want to drink that water. I can't really afford bottles of water because I'm trying to afford to move to a new location. My second thing I want to say is the owner of Chelsea Gardens did this again in 2018. We had 60 days to move. I wish that you guys talk to him, and this is a continuous thing. This is evil. He did this 2018 Sierra Townhomes, and he's doing it again. So if the councilman can talk to the mayor of Atlanta or the governor of Atlanta too, because he need to be either arrested. This isn't right. Another thing, he said he doesn't know if he's going to give back our security deposit when we move. That's not right at all. So if you can please talk to him about these things, I really appreciate it. And again, I want to thank Roger Gay for the statement he made earlier, and I want to thank the mayor as well for bringing water, so we can have at least some type of clean water to drink in this apartment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Andre Harris.
Yes, my name is Andre Harris. I'm also a representative, part of Chelsea Gardens. I have lived in that apartment complex for near 13 years, and just a few days ago, I went to go and retrieve, a few of my belongings and everything, and I found our belongings outside. They had completely dismantled the apartment complex, and without warning, they didn't tell us anything, and there were some personal belongings that were affected, and the thing is that I'm not understanding what is going on between the city management and the apartment complex, with the manager and everything. I've heard that there's a lot of bribery that's going on. I'm not sure what that is, but I feel like that amongst the other residents that have been mistreated, this needs to be rectified. It's not fair to us. It's not. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Bazal Jupiter.
Mayor Broom, in a press release on May 12th, you said the council is doing all that it can to assist tenants. You lied. All of you let this slumlord shut off all 40 remaining units of water. Water is being shut off from today till May 23rd. Tenants are living in horrible conditions with no water for washing, no water for drinking, no water for living. And now, earlier this week, you, the city, are taking over tenants' electricity services, not telling them, charging them an exorbitant rate, shutting off their power, and then using code enforcement to evict them. The city government is not acting in the interest of tenants because they're bought out by the landlords. I'll say it again, Contour Realty bought y'all out. $3,000 to Councilman Tracy Arnold's campaign for Ward 3. $4,000 in campaign contributions to Mayor Pro Tem Jamel McKenzie. The only way you all will do right is if we make y'all do right. There would be no extension to June 1st, which y'all lied about, if we didn't pressure y'all. Tenants have repeatedly attempted to discuss the situation with the city council representatives, but all we've seen is you working with this slumlord, Petras de Juvac, to evict tenants again and again. On Monday, April 28th, right here at the doors of City Hall, we submitted a formal list of demands directly to Councilman Gay. The demands have been directly texted to all of you, including the mayor, including Mayor Pro Tem, including Ward 3 Councilwoman Arnold. Yet we have heard nothing in response. So I'll say the short version of these demands to y'all now. Stop the evictions once and for all. Stop the utility shutoffs now. Return people's water, return people's electricity. Relocation assistance at the owner's expense. All security deposits must be paid back to the current and former tenants in full. Pay back March and April rent. Give them their money back. We demand tenants have the right to negotiate these above demands and more in a meeting between current and former tenants, the city, and the landlord. We demand the right to collective bargaining. This refusal to acknowledge the residents of Chelsea Gardens is not new from y'all. Tenants deserve to have their lights and access to safe housing, a fundamental right. These removal orders unfairly punish tenants for slumlord negligence, and the city of College Park must protect the rights of these residents, not run cover for criminal landlords that y'all friends with. Y'all have a choice. You have a choice. Continue to leave tenants without water and power, continue to lie, continue to rob and evict people, or you can do right by the people of College Park for once in your life.
Thank you, sir.
Elias Nail Dupree.
I had some prepared comments, but I think that some of the quotes that I heard tonight might express everything better. So, on that note, I too would like it if the council would have the gut and gall to say what they're going to do rather than hide behind their hands. I too would like it if they would take into account their actions before they might destroy a person's career, family, and life. And I too would like it if the illustrious leaders of the city of College Park stopped doing stupid stuff. However, I think there has been a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to be a member of the elected body. You are a part of a system. You are a part of a system that affects these residents. You are not an individual. You have participated in the perpetuation of this. College Park residents are still being evicted despite the eviction extension. Their utilities are being shut off. There is construction occurring above their heads, around their homes, in front of their children's playground. The city residents have asked repeatedly for help, and there has been silence. And that has been noticed. It is, as many have said, a systemic issue, and every member here is culpable in that. The city residents deserve better. They deserve to not live in homes infested with rodents and mold. And the fact that it got to this point is the problem. The evictions need to stop, not because the residents should continue to live in these conditions, but because they should never be forced to leave a home because nobody intervened in this situation beforehand. Housing is a fundamental human right. We teach elementary school students that all beings need food, water, and shelter. What is being done to ensure that the humans in this room receive that? It is fantastic that there are community organizers that are trying to help, but it is not reaching every resident. There are multiple residents who have heard nothing. No resident has heard anything from the city management or the property management about assistance. Residents are without water, without power. There are residents that cannot use their ovens. There are residents in need, and they have come to you for help multiple times. So rather than release a press conference or press release saying you are doing everything you can, saying that your hearts go out to them, act.
Thank you.
Ezron McDaniels.
Good evening, Mayor Broom and fellow council persons. Thanks for the opportunity to speak in this forum tonight. My name is Ezra McDaniels, a homeowner in the Hawthorne Station subdivision. I come to you tonight to highlight a couple of major concerns I have germane to public safety, as well as the lack of progress with respect to the 6 West development. Over the past several months, Hawthorne Station has experienced a myriad of criminal occurrences related to thefts and attempted thefts. As is typical, when this type of criminal activity occurs, our homeowners and neighbors, we engage with each other, and we engage the appropriate authorities to do whatever is necessary to catch the criminals. Well, it seems nobody has caught the criminals yet. Due to the strained law enforcement resources in the city, as we've been told, we feel that we are left to investigate and perform our own due diligence when in fact it is the city's job to do so. I have heard of some of the city's efforts to curtail this activity, but I believe that many of those efforts are designed to only bandage the issue, which is not just unique to Hawthorne Station, but to the city at large. We have had statistics thrown at us about how much crime has decreased. That can't be the case because it has increased where many of us live. So I'm unsure what rubric is being used to determine those statistics. I also understand that the city has hired a private security firm to do something community-wide. However, we do not know what that something entails, what scope of work is involved, or how private security assists in solving crime issues. With what I understand to be an overburdened police force, it seems to me that this council would consider adding additional public, not private resources to combat this crime issue. This means making the policing profession in College Park more attractive with incentives. As it relates to 6 West, the lack of progress is extremely concerning, especially for homeowners who actually purchased a home because of the intended development. It has been many years since 6 West was promised, and the same old story is told to us over and over again. There has been no transparency in what is happening to develop this over 300-acre parcel of land, or communication as to how the original plans may have changed over time. Many of us would like to understand better what the clear vision is for 6 West. I was told that the city is breaking ground in November 2025 on 55 acres. What are the city's plans for the other 250 acres? What are the timelines involved? The residents of College Park deserve a clear vision that leads to somewhere, unlike this bridge that was built over Camp Creek, which seems to lead to nowhere. I urge the council to take our safety more seriously and to be forward-thinking about the housing and economic development aspects of our city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Stanley Mohammed.
Greetings, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, city leaders.
Good evening.
I would like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum, which means may God's peace be upon you. Today is our brother Malcolm X's birth anniversary. May God be pleased with him. And I want us to remember our brother who stood for justice for our people. And he always talked about plantation. And you are keeping the structure of the plantation of our former slave master. You are mirroring the House Negro. And House Negro only concerned himself with master thought about. When the master was sick, he said, "Master, we sick?" When the master white man's house is on fire, "Master, we house on fire." But the field Negro, who suffered and picked cotton, who represent the residents in Chelsea Gardens, they wanted to see the house of the master burn. See, this white man that's in Chelsea Gardens, Councilwoman Arnold, he's not a good man, he's a devil. Joe Kahn, you said you are against substandard. Get out your seat and go see the condition that he has our people living in. You know Pete. That's your old good time friend, you and Tracy Wyatt. But you ain't saying nothing about him. Grass is high. Brother Andre just came up. We helped him move. We gave his mother shelter. And not shelter, but finances, pardon me. She's disabled. They bulldozer her home. Pete. Destroyed her property. But why aren't you saying anything? What's your backdoor relationship with him? See, there's a shadow government that controls you all. You're the face government, but there's a shadow government controlling you. And you have sage hands to move people. I was told by one of you that he needed to move people to get a $20 million loan, but he had to evict the people. So Sage Hand comes in to move the people. More to be continued. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor, we have reached the 6-minute mark
Okay.
for remaining public comments, emailed public comments.
I'm sorry.
We have reached the 30 minutes.
30 minutes and now we're on to email?
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Mayor. My apologies. First public comment is from Tabian Goodwin. On May 15th, a community meeting was held at Hawthorne Station facilitated by Mr. Joe Karn. During the meeting, Mr. Karn invited several representatives from the City of College Park, including Attorney Marvin, who addressed issues related to the HOA. It became evident during the discussion that Attorney Marvin was not familiar with the HOA bylaws at Hawthorne Station. We appreciate Attorney James for stepping in to provide clarification and context regarding those bylaws. Additionally, Karn informed City of College Park residents that a loss prevention LP agent identified as Mr. Hicks has been appointed to provide supplemental security for our community. It was noted that Mr. Hicks does not have the authority to make arrests. When asked about the salary for this contracted position, there was a delay in response. Mr. Karn eventually stated that the information is public record, although residents have not been able to locate it. He later clarified that the position is part of a 2-month pilot program at a cost of $1,500 per month. Several residents raised concerns suggesting that these funds could be better allocated toward hiring an actual police officer with arrest authorities. Update: incident on May 17th. Just 2 days after this meeting on May 17th, there was an attempted robbery at Hawthorne Station. This incident raises serious concerns about the effectiveness of the current security measures and reinforces the community's interest in more robust law enforcement support and not a supplemental security company. Next public comment is from Tom Coleman. Dear Mayor and City Council, before anyone can fruitfully discuss the expense side of a budget, they must have a confidence in the income side. The 4 budget workshops never justify the anticipated 218 million income even after adding more millions of expenses. All this despite an apparent shortfall in this year's revenue and a general uncertainty in our numbers due to audit completion difficulties. The entire structure of the budget formulation is designed to be obscure. So specifically, the 4 earlier workshops, while televised, are incomprehensible without reference to the city manager's proposed budget. When the mayor asked that to be published, the city manager and Councilman Carn strenuously objected, at one point patronizing, stating that the citizens were incapable of differentiating between a proposed and a final budget. The proposed budget purposely obscures some expenses, most notably the euphemistically named community enhancements given each council member. The proposed budget lists $100,000 for each ward, but council members stated that these were mere placeholders for much higher figures. If you cannot detail a need beyond the separate and lavish $10,000 council discretionary fund, a lump sum of community enhancement is simply a slush fund. The current year's community enhancements give evidence to the above. Each meeting, large expenses are shown as budgeted items, implying that they have previously discussed and justified and are put on a consent agenda and pushed through with no discussion or backup information. There are 2 public budget hearings in June. However, there is no current mechanism for reconvening a workshop to incorporate any citizen input into the city manager's updated proposed budget going into the public hearings. Maybe, just maybe, the citizens might have some good ideas. Some of those structural budget formulation problems will not be solved this year. Several items the city can do. 1, publish the desired community enhancement budget with detailed breakdown for next year by ward. 2, fully fund those areas that can only be accomplished by the city. Cut the 4 new legislative age positions. Increase infrastructure renewal. Fund future 6 West infrastructure needs. Restate the 12 frozen police and fire positions from last budget. Fully fund code enforcement. And for gosh sakes, ease off the festivals/parties/services duplicated by other agencies. Cut here first, in parentheses. 3, schedule a post-public hearings workshop to incorporate changes brought to light. The earlier budget workshops did show the expertise and in-depth knowledge of many of our employees. Council and the mayor had valuable input as well. I am heartened by these. Many thanks, Tom Coleman. Madam Mayor, that's all of the public comments that I have on email.
All right. We'll move forward.
There are no public hearings for this agenda.
So we're moving to 9A.
Item 9A, consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit to host CCN Kickfest by the Carrot Cartel Network on September 6, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Jamestown area. This item is requested by Queenie Brown, Deputy City Clerk. This event is located in Ward 2.
Is there a motion?
Now, this one is, this is the same one that was on workshop previously, right?
Correct.
City Attorney, I know we covered some of the requests there. Did we,
Councilmember, hold on. I'm asking for a motion right now. Is there a motion to approve?
motion with the,
There's always discussion and everything. We just gotta get it. Councilmember Gay, you made a motion?
Motion to approve without bouncy house and proof of insurance and clearance with recreation director that the other amenities aren't being used by playing events.
Madam Clerk, did you get all that? All right.
second.
Is there a second? Okay.
Discussion.
There's always discussion. All right, go right ahead.
Now, this was the one, let's see, CCN Kickfest. Now, this was one that did have their special event form filled out, correct? I'm looking at it here. I think that they did fill their form out. I'll also add to that a motion. I think that an EMS on duty that they would cover should be required as well in that motion.
I'm sorry?
An EMS coverage for the event at the expense of the outfit that's putting this on. We discussed it in workshop session.
Councilmember
So
Gay.
I'd like to add to that motion, in addition to your things.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9B, consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit to host farmers market pop-up by agriculture on June 14, 2025 to 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Grassfield area at the corner of Riverdale Road. This item is requested by Queenie Brown, Deputy City Clerk. This event is located in Ward 2.
Is there a motion?
Motion with discussion.
Is there a second?
Yes, second with amendment that they provide proof of insurance.
Okay, this was the
farmer's market.
I think this is also the one that we didn't have the,
Special event form.
the special event form filled out.
Yeah, this was the one that did not have anything done here. So,
There's a whole presentation.
I'm sorry. All right, I got it in my hand here. Yeah, no special event
Permit.
form filled out. City manager, city attorney, now Michael, I guess you're sitting in here. Well, obviously you're sitting in. We want to make sure first thing in the morning, if we're going to approve this, that they fill out a special events form, insurance requirements. That form is very necessary for everyone, as I said. It has the hold harmless clause in that form for the events that we hold. So that form is necessary to cover us and protect the city, just in general, in the event of an unforeseen event. So we want to make sure, if we're going to okay it, that that's done first thing in the morning, and contingent upon that being done, and contingent upon them having the insurance and verified insurance and so on and so forth. So we just want to make sure that they're jumping through the same hoops that the rest of these outfits are, to make sure if they're coming on board and going to have the event, they're covered.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Upon approval, if I understand correctly, Ms. Deputy Clerk can correct me, but upon approval, they are required to provide insurance.
Well, now for me, if they don't check off all the boxes, I'm not supporting the event. So it's contingent upon
Yes.
them
Understood.
making the mark. All right.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9C, consideration of an action on a request for a special event permit to host Nabar Temple and Nabar Court Barbecue by Nabar Temple on July 19, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Charles E. Phillips Park. This item is requested by Queenie Brown, Deputy City Clerk. This event is located in Ward 4.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion?
Okay, they did fill out the special event form. Looks like they had most of their stuff covered. Is that right? City Clerk?
I'm double checking. Just one moment.
If I may.
Yeah.
They needed to just make sure they were gonna pay for it,
I suggested EMS for that one.
well, not EMS, but the additional shelters that they wanted at the park.
Okay. Also, and Michelle, you've been coordinating with them, so I guess you're gonna follow through with them, right? Make sure they have everything they need. Well, you didn't have to necessarily come down. I just wanted to make sure you were gonna continue to follow up with them.
Yes, so
make
this
sure
one on the temple, we had a discussion, they'll do the rentals. But on the prior one, the CCN, we wanted to talk about that field space before approving that one.
You
So-
also were gonna check, that's the September 6th one.
Correct, and I did speak with them afterwards, we'll meet and.
Now,
Definitely.
again, I guess that's also contingent upon if that space is available on September 6th in terms of the field. But I think from a safety perspective that having the kids doing the activity on the field is gonna be better than on that. That concrete is really, it's cracked up and there's
Absolutely.
potholes in it and everything.
Yeah, absolutely, I
else.
told them I would check, we would meet and talk about the schedule, and I would know for soccer, so we definitely would, they understood, we did talk.
But we said that previous one is contingent upon All of those items, meeting those, okay. This one, I'm okay with, it looks like you've been planning with them. And again, from here on out, when the clerk's office gets a special event permit, if it's in a park, we want to make sure Parks and Rec is in it from the get-go, not just on some of them, but we want to make sure you all catch all of them together, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9D, consideration of an action on a request for approval to designate city streets for resurfacing under the Georgia Department of Transportation 2025 Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant Resurfacing Program. The grant amount is $220,700.46. This item is being requested by Highway, Streets, and Stormwater Superintendent Raymond Cotton. This grant will support all wards 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion?
When do we get to designate our streets? Normally, I thought it comes with the motion.
It's in there.
It's already in the packet.
It's in the packet, yeah. Yours is, right here, Lakeshore.
Alexander Way, Alexander Way from Skyline to Lakeshore. That's what it
Raymond.
says.
Raymond. Yes. Knapples.
Okay, man, I would like the opportunity to get with them to discuss other streets. Hopewell hasn't been paid since 1980. Winthrop Road hasn't been paid since 1980. So Raymond, all I'm saying is I'd like to get with you and come back with my streets at the next council, if that's okay with you.
That'll be fine. 'Cause
I
if I'm
would
not
love
mistaken,
for
I have-
Lakeshore to be paid, but it's been paid, you know.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Just send me your street list.
Oh, Alexander Way.
We have between Skyline and Skyline.
I get with you, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Raymond, well, a couple of questions. So this is the, based off the grant, right?
Yes.
So whatever we pick, we're talking about same approximate length there?
Yes.
2/10 of a mile?
That amount, the LRA is no match. The LMIG is a 30% match.
Right.
This is just the additional fund GDOT is giving the city of College Park. But I try to keep all the street like a 1/10 of a mile, because I can't go over the 220 without putting some funds somewhere else.
So the money only gives you so much of each
That's
of the
correct.
street. So no matter what street it is,
It's only
there's
gonna
only
be a
so much
piece
of
of
a length
street.
there.
That's it.
I think 4 streets in the whole city.
Understood. All right. I guess if anybody wants to catch up with you with any changes,
Yes.
but we know it's the same length we're talking about.
Yeah, try to keep that same list, try to keep the cost down.
But Raymond, you're still using that same measurement to determine what streets are a priority.
Yes, ma'am.
Right,
With
okay.
the new AI, it'll kick in on 26,
Analytics.
all the one analytics, all the street stats, I have grant now up to 20, this is the last one for 2025.
Yeah,
All the streets is been, it's already in the system.
right. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9E, consideration of an action on a request to approve the GICC emergency roof repairs for multiple leaks causing immediate risk to the building as well as to public safety. This situation was urgent and required immediate repair. We were able to locate Tecta America, an approved contractor, to resolve this matter. This item is requested by Interim Executive Director of Georgia International Convention Center Arena and Golf Course.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9F, consideration of an action on a request for reimbursement by our insurance company for emergency repair of the damaged roll-up door on GICC loading dock occurring on March 1st. The damage covered by insurance needed to be repaired immediately to resume operation of a safe environment. This item is requested by Interim Executive Director Giannis Barner. The cost is $39,915.33. This is not a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9G, consideration of an action on a request to approve MASA access as a supplement benefits for employees presented by Rose Stewart, Director of Human Resources and Risk Management.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second
Thank you,
discussion.
Councilmember Carn. There's always discussion, so go right ahead.
We want to make sure we get back the information. They mentioned possible individual plans for non-employees, and to see what the parameters were for that.
Any further discussion?
I got it, Ms. Stewart.
Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 9H, consideration of an action on a request for approval of the health and benefits renewal as presented by Mercer Health and Benefits Group for plan year July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you,
Discussion.
Councilman. There's always discussion, Councilmember. Go right ahead.
All right, so Rose, so this is the one, the combination with the high performance and the standard broad access, correct? Okay. So this one takes us up, it looks like 7.35%. And I remember I heard 8%, but is the 7.35 accurate, or is it the 8%?
Well, the math is in the book. 8% is what came out.
Okay.
That also, I'm Steve Roberts with SCR Consulting too. Good evening, Mayor and council members. That also contemplates the split between the high and low plan that you have now, being in the hybrid plan, the broad plan, and then the health plan network, high performance network plan as well. Now, those numbers more than likely are going to change, and those rates will be adjusted accordingly. We will do our best to get Anthem to accept whatever participation we get and keep those rates where they are, which would be the 7 point, the other number you said, or the 8%. Yeah.
Okay, and as opposed to
Sorry, just if you
staying,
would, I just wanted to clarify on the 735, if that's okay, sir. So the 8.06%, which is roughly about $370,000, that's the gross annual increase to the plan. That 7.35%, which comes out to $279,000, that is the recommended increase to the City of College Park's employer cost.
okay, that's
So
our
that's
net.
your net increase.
Okay, got it. And this is opposed to our current plan, which you said the lowest offer you got back was 25%,
Correct.
as is.
As is.
Yes, sir. Well, as is 29, with some proposed minor tweaks, 25.
With the discount. But this brings us down to the 8. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right,
Any further discussion?
If I may, Councilwoman Arnold, I did get the contribution spread that you asked about. So today, your plans are almost identical, and there's a very small spread here. I have it, it's anywhere between $6 to $14.
Okay.
Depending on the plans that you're in. Like if you're a single, there's $6 difference between the two plans and $14 per month difference there. So one of the issues that we saw is the fact that the plans are essentially identical, but there's a spread difference, so it makes it difficult for people to understand the value of why they may pick one or the other. This would create a bigger spread, and the change would be anywhere from $22 to $32 a month. So a little bit of a bigger difference in plans and a difference in cost to help people make a decision about whether they would prefer lower fixed cost out of payroll or whether they would like lower costs when they go to get services.
Okay.
one other question. Now, this renewal, does this also renew the current vision and dental as well, or what do we have some tweaks with that, or how's that looking? Because we didn't touch on that at the workshop. I don't think.
They do, sir. So the vision plan was in a rate guarantee, meaning there's no increase to renewal. And the dental, we were able to negotiate pre-release to make sure that it was flat. So no increases in dental or vision or the life and disability products either, sir.
Pretty much same networks for vision and dental.
Everything remaining as is with no cost increase, sir.
All right.
I have one more question.
Councilmember Arnold, go right ahead.
Are we going to do anything to, especially with those dollar amounts, that's pretty significant to some of our staff, are we going to do anything to kind of promote this so that they'll see the potential value, the savings value for going into this plan?
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to be working with Ms. Rose and Ms. Krista with open enrollment, going through education, teaching people about the difference between the networks, differences in the plans, helping them make a decision there, also with the help of Stephen Roberts as well as part of the open enrollment education.
Okay, thank you.
Last thing, I guess you touched on something that, all right, so I know, medical costs are going up, I guess, overall. We're pretty high because of our incidents. You got spouses that are on outside medical plans. What's the outside market looking like? Is it going up to the point where maybe a spouse or a husband says, well, hey, the city plan may look better as opposed to my option with my job, with my corporation and the corporate plan or whatever have you?
Yeah, so nationally, medical and pharmacy costs are projected to go up about anywhere from 8 to 10%. But when you think about national, you're including large employers, right? You're including Georgia Pacific and Home Depot and all of those companies that have a lot of other levers to be able to pull to reduce costs. A lot of my clients that are within your size are getting 15, 20, 30. I had a group get, we started with College Park at 40% and had to negotiate down from there. It is happening. Some of it is deferral of care from COVID. Some of it is all the recontracting you're hearing about with all the hospitals in the area as well, where they're needing to be paid more. That's something without knowing who the companies that their spouses work for, wouldn't really be able to give a good read on that. But I will say, and we talked about it during the workshop, is that city government benefits are typically fairly generous for the people that you serve. And so there is always that potential. But we also do recommend that they always consider their other options as well, just in case if any of them do work for private companies as opposed to government entity, that some of those companies do have very rich, generous benefits as well, sir.
Okay, well, we want to keep our plans generous, while at the same time not going through the roof with a 25% increase. So we're commensurate with the national percentage increase. Huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item 9I, consideration on and action of a request for approval of resolution number 2025-12, amending the budget for fiscal year 2025 for the general fund, special revenue funds, and enterprise funds. This item is requested by Terry Jackson, Director of Finance and Accounting.
I did not see the resolution itself. It was not in the packet.
Madam Mayor, I did update the agenda packet earlier.
Okay. All right, so that's
today.
on me.
Yes.
My apologies. All right. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
I didn't see that that update.
Is there a second?
So Terry, essentially, the
Wait, hold on. Wait, there's been a
Second.
motion. Is there a second? Thank you,
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I
Any
saw it.
discussion? Councilmember Carn, go right ahead.
I wish I had a copy. Someone could give me a copy of it, but this pretty much matches what you got here in the detail, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Any further discussion?
I just
Councilmember
want
Gay?
I just want to thank Mr. Jackson for what I think was an amazing job. You made the process seamless, and that talks
Thank
a
you.
lot about your skills and your professionalism.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Item 9J, consideration of an action on a request to approve an ordinance to adopt Article 8 Charter Review Commission with Chapter 2 Administration in the city's Code of Ordinances.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second with discussion.
Councilmember, there's always discussion. I will always call for discussion, I promise. But Councilmember Carn is seconded,
And
and Councilmember Carn, go right ahead. I'll
Okay,
come to
I
you
was
second.
gonna say something, but let me go first. Okay.
All right, so this, just taking a look at this, this gives us the authority to take a look at, if we're gonna consider any changes or adjustments, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. It essentially creates Charter Review Commission citizens who will review the charter and report to you, this body, if they have any recommended amendments, whether acted in General Assembly or that you would enact by home rule. So it would be a comprehensive review by a citizen committee that is appointed by both this body and the Fulton County legislative delegation, as well as the Clayton County legislative delegation.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I wanted to explain why I wanted to have this particular piece of legislation brought forth because, it has been a concern for many of my residents in terms of the charter and looking at the possibility of doing some updates to the charter. And I felt that it was best that we did get citizen involvement. I definitely would rather have us initiate if the charter is to be changed or amended in any way. I would prefer it to be done with the changes that we as a community and as a city submit. So I wanted us to begin as soon as possible to pull together this particular legislation would require each member of the governing body to appoint 2 persons from their jurisdiction to serve on this committee. And as the attorney has already spoken, it would be something where they would report back to us and let us know some of their recommendations for our charter going forward.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Arnold?
Yeah, I know that, and I definitely like the legislation, but I noticed that there was a recommendation that I made about there not being no more than 3 members from a particular ward on the committee.
Yes, ma'am. The math would have been really hard with 5 members of the governing body and then 2 delegation appointments. We could change it to 3, but I just think it would be hard to get only 3, especially when you have the mayor who lives in one of the 4 wards, then a council member who lives in that ward, then the delegation might. I just thought 4 was the sweet spot, but.
Well, I mean, we can always, like I suggested, when it comes to the mayor's seat, asking for that particular seat to pick from 2 different wards, that it can't be from the same ward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if we put that language in, then that will then guarantee that we don't have more than 3 individuals from one ward.
Except,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I want to make sure I heard the councilwoman properly. So the mayor would have to pick from at least 2 different wards.
Other than where he or she may reside.
Right.
So say if this is so for example, you live in Ward 1, right? We have the councilwoman for Ward 1,
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem. She's going to pick 2 people from her ward, right? You would make 3 from Ward 1.
if I pick someone from
If you pick someone from
right,
Ward 1.
I don't have an issue with the mayor having to pick from 2 different wards.
Right.
But each of you is going to pick 2.
That's
people
right.
from
That's
your
right.
ward.
That's
So,
what I suggested
yeah.
before. I'm sorry.
Well,
Excuse me.
why don't we have equal selection? I'm hearing 2 picks per person except for the mayor.
No. The mayor will still
mayor
get
has
2
2.
picks, but they have to be from 2 separate wards.
And I don't think that should be an issue.
Meaning that if she picks someone in Ward 1,
Can't pick
that'll
2
be
people from
3
the same ward.
Okay,
people.
I can't hear both of y'all at once.
If she picks a person from Ward 1, there'll be 3 people on the committee from Ward 1. If she picks 2, it'll be 4, which would then make everything a little lopsided when it comes to the other wards.
Okay, well, I mean, understood there. I think I wouldn't want us to stack this thing in one way or another towards any particular ward for reasons which are obvious. I think we need to take a look at this thing. But I think it's very important that we look at in terms of all of the wards, in terms of equity. Now, it goes without saying, it's common knowledge that an effort to make some changes in terms of the charter has been led in the Ward 1 area. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. So figuring out a way we can kind of make sure we got an even hand with this thing, because there is a possibility for 3 there and only 2 picks everywhere else. So how do we,
No. The way it is right now, it's a possibility that one ward can end up with 4. And so to make it equitable, the mayor would pick from 2 separate wards. The rest of us will pick 2 from our own wards.
So two of the wards would have 3.
And that's why I said that each member of the governing body would pick from their jurisdiction. The 4 council members, we have a ward. The mayor has the entire city. No matter which way we look at this, there are going to be 3 people from 2 of the wards of the city.
Yes.
So, and that will be up to the mayor's, that'll be up to how she decides she wants to select.
But I have no issue with saying that the mayor has to select from different wards. I think that
So we can
makes
add
total
that
sense.
into the legislation.
So with that change, please.
I could, easy fix. Easy
Okay.
fix.
Winston, the only recommendation I would make is that the charter is germane to a lot of residents. There ought to be some kind of education or workshop or something to not just put people in a situation that they don't know a lot about it. My recommendation would be.
Well, would you like that in the legislation, or that just?
Whatever you think is.
I think we can just have a series of education sessions before, so I think we can do that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's a great idea, because it's, good idea.
So who made the motion?
I did.
Do you accept the friendly amendment with the language that the mayor has to select from 2 different wards?
Yeah, and then we'll just add on that there will be some other administrative procedures added. For education. It doesn't have to be in the ordinance, but it will be that we will have some educational sessions to educate, basically, the members of this board. Commission. Okay.
All right. And who seconded?
Joe, did you?
Councilmember Arnold, did you?
I think it was.
Are you?
Was it me?
I think city clerk said
It was
it was
me?
you.
Did I second it?
I thought I had Councilman Carn.
I'm sorry.
was
I'm
him.
sorry. I thought you said Arnold. Do you accept the friendly amendments?
yes.
All right. So that second still stands. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Next agenda item, 8A, consideration of an action to contract Monica Arnold Chrome as the Ward 4 Legislative Assistant effective May 19, 2025, compensated at $70,000 as a full-time contractor. This item is being requested by Councilman Roderick Gay.
Is there a motion?
I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Item 8B, consideration of an action to contract Kelly Ramsey as the mayor's legislative assistant effective May 19, 2025, compensated at $5,833.33 monthly.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion?
So basically, mayors, you're saying $5,833.33. That's $69,000 per year, correct? $69,99.99. That's what your anticipation was for this contract?
Yes.
Okay, so basically $70,000. All right,
Yes.
no other discussion.
Is this,
So,
2 questions, and I'm fine with it. is this an annual contract, or is this a month-to-month contract?
It is a monthly contract that ends June 30th of 26. It has an automatic renewal on July 1st of 25.
Right now, I think we have all of our folks stationed in our offices. So is this person going to be in your office?
I believe this person's an independent contractor, so.
Okay, so they'll be in and out, I guess.
So
All
I
right.
think that'll be a conversation with me and Ms. Ramsey.
All right.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8C, consideration of an action to contract Tawana Brooks as the Ward 2 Legislative Assistant, compensated at $5,500 monthly as a contractor. This item is being requested by Councilman Joseph Karn.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Karn. Any
with
discussion?
Discussion. Now, this contract is month to month. Just wanted to make that clear, and I think it's in here. All right.
Okay, so question then, so month to month, but you don't have an end date, so it's just a 30-day out contract? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's month to month up to a year.
Okay, so it would be, the total amount would be $66,000.
If we can make that clarification, I don't know if we need to make that in there.
Well, just kind of looking at what we're taking out of the budget for this, for that year, so it would be, if,
Okay. If it
and
goes
you
the
may
whole
replace
year,
the, I mean, if you replace the person with someone else, you still are
Right.
allocating basically
well,
$66,000.
unless there's well, right now we're going month to month on this one. If there is a change of some sort or another, I guess, depending on who comes in, we'll look at if there's a salary change or whatever have you, but, all right, this is fine as is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8D, consideration of an action to name the planned botanical garden at the former Camp Truett located at 4400 Herschel Road, College Park, as a Roger Gay Botanical Garden effective May 19, 2025. This item is being requested by Councilman Roderick Gay. This
there a
is
motion?
located in Ward 4.
I'm sorry.
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion?
I did have some discussion on this. All right, I know, Councilman, we talked about this over the years, and I definitely think it's worthwhile and worth doing. Now, it was my understanding what we passed was the Fulton County Botanical Gardens. Now, I will say, had I known, you wanted to name it, for yourself, I would have given a little more thought in terms of how we do this thing. Couple of things. I want to be clear. Number one, I'm not against this project. I think this is a great project. I think this is a major project. And I like my name. I think Joe's a great name. I guess to some extent, everyone would like to see their name up, on the facade of a building or whatever have you, but I'll let y'all in on a little secret. Yes, the Gateway Arena, that was, I guess, kind of my project in a sense. Obviously, it was a citywide project, but I pushed and encouraged the city to move forward with it. I thought it was a worthwhile investment, and if we built it when building costs were low, that it would reap dividends and be a big benefit to spur development on across the street, 6 West, and so on and so forth. And I worked to convince the mayor and council that it'd be great. Now, technically, I had the 3 votes to possibly name that arena after myself, but I did not pursue that in any way because it wasn't because it would be something that I would be interested in, but I inherently knew that placing my name on an arena or anything else along that size financially, I know that would substantially, greatly diminish the marketable value of a multi-million-dollar tourist attraction. Now, folks, you know, we have named city facilities for people over the years before. The Brady Center, the Wyatt Center, Keith James Auditorium, so on and so forth. But we don't have any regional tourist attractions named for anyone. And I want to kind of separate the difference in the two. You know, city facilities, you know, like a park, you know, Zup Park or a library, or those obviously are purpose for, you know, they primarily serve local residents with services and local services. The difference here is a regional tourist attraction, that's going to bring in visitors from a much, much wider area. Like I said, Councilmember Gay, this is not that I'm not for the project, but I just want y'all to hear me out here. I just think that this type of thing, bringing in those type of visitors from other states and potentially other countries, I see the vision of what we're trying to do, and I see the potential of success for this to be a regional tourism attraction, and I'm very, very excited about it. Now, Roger, you know, when you got here, I had 10 years before you got here talked about the College Park Farms and Garden concept over at Camp Truett as well. So it was a vision I had as well, but this is a project that you had pushed for expressly here. But this size project has substantial economic impacts on all of the other local businesses citywide, just like the Georgia International Convention Center. It's a regional attraction, which means it's a little bit different than a local city named attraction named for a resident or an individual. Not that the individuals aren't worthy, but this is expressly why we did not name the GICC for Councilman Phillips, who was most directly responsible for its creation and development. And I used to spend a lot of time with Chuck, and he knew, and I guess he was wise enough not to kind of allow, he may have had a personal preference, but he didn't want that to trump the national and international target audience, that the wider scope of drawing visitors that we're talking about. And those folks that are coming from out of town in different cities throughout the U.S., they're not going to have any knowledge of local residents. The other issue I look at is in terms of markability, in terms of sponsorship opportunities and so on and so forth. Again, I am not against the project, but I am not for naming this for any individual in terms of on the local level in College Park. And that means not myself, not the mayor, not anyone. I mean, outside of the rare occasion where there's a local representative here that actually exceeds national prominence. Now, outside of that, I just don't see anything here. And I know we're going to vote here, but I really want y'all to think about the financial impact of this thing. I looked at some of these gardens all over the country. I've been to several of them, and I am a big admirer of a beautiful botanical garden. It's going to be a great thing for residents and a great thing for Fulton County. When we passed this, though, I did pass it with the understanding of that was the name. When we had the meeting a few meetings back, I went through that package very thoroughly, and the presentation that you put together said Fulton County Botanical Gardens. And it not only said that on the front page, it was on every page 17 times, Fulton County Botanical Gardens. So I was under the assumption that that was the name of it, or the proposed name for it. That was a big part of why I was in support of it. You know, I'm fine with the current naming that we passed it with, Fulton County Botanical Gardens. I'm fine with if we looked at the Camp Truett Botanical Gardens. I would even be okay with the name of the College Park Botanical Gardens. But I'm not going to okay naming this for any person. And again, it's no offense, but I want y'all to understand the financial implications of this. If you look at the other gardens around the country, and even the local regional attractions, the Atlanta Botanical Gardens is just that, the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. The Atlanta Zoo is the Atlanta Zoo. Georgia Aquarium, Stone Mountain, you can get the Chattahoochee Aquarium. I mean, they're regional tourist attractions. And other botanical gardens are named pretty benign there. You go to New York City, their botanical gardens is called the New York Botanical Garden. Chicago's, it's called the Chicago Botanical Garden. Tucson, Arizona, it's the Tucson Botanical Gardens. And I don't want to diminish the marketability of anything. And it's not with you personally, Roger, at all. It's with any local name. So I just want us to think very carefully before we take a look at this thing and take a vote on it, because I think it's important. We had a lot of issues here on the agenda and a lot of votes that we had to take here tonight. But this one in particularly is one that would affect us financially for years to come and potentially decades to come, because I think this is going to be a big project. So we're going to vote here, but it's in my estimation, and again, this is just my opinion, I think this vote's going to be one or two choices, and I want us to all think not necessarily from the personal preference deal to two choices. One, either instant gratification, or two, long-term sustainability and success and growth. So I just want us to get as much as we can out of doing this. We get lots of items here, but this one has long-term financial consequences. So we let the votes fall where they may, but that's just my 2 cents on it. And again, it's not a personal thing with anybody's name, but I wouldn't put anyone's name on this so that this thing can grow. Last thing I'll say, we have never, ever named anything that's not even in existence or has been constructed yet. So I don't know how long this is going to take to build it, but I would just think it might be wise to just place a placeholder in it until this thing is built, if it's a year or 15 months or whatever it is, and come back and take a look at it. And if we still feel the same way, okay, we name it, but let's build this thing first, at least. So that's my opinion, and I make no apologies. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. It's not a personal disparagement for anyone, but I wouldn't recommend us naming this for anybody. I think we need to let it grow on its own and let it grow and develop and see where that takes us. So,
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem?
There's the Georgia Botanical Gardens, there's the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, like Joe said, there's the Atlanta Zoo, and I look in the city of College Park, and we have had a tendency to name some of our buildings or streets or whatever after members of the community. I do believe that this botanical garden is not just College Park's. We're in a relationship with Fulton County where we have, we're actually leasing the land for the garden from Fulton County. And we had to have a relationship with Fulton County in order to even get this piece of property. And when it was presented to the commission, it was presented to be the Fulton County Botanical Gardens. That's one. Number two, I recently, last year, spoke to different members of the community. It was not my idea, but I thought it was a great idea when members of the community came to me and requested that we name the City Hall lawn. And because I think that as elected officials, it's good to get input. I made some mistakes up here where I didn't get input. So I try my best now to get input. So when we were looking at naming the City of College Park's lawn, we sent a survey out, and we left the survey out for over a month. And we gave a couple of names that had been suggested, but we also gave people the opportunity to give their own names because it's going to be a part of our city. And then we came up with a name based on what the majority of the persons that responded to the survey wanted. This is too important for one person to put this on the agenda and decide, just because he did the hard work, and I appreciate the hard work that was done to get this to this place. But this is a disservice to the residents of the city of College Park and Ward 4, who I've spoken to several of them. To name something, it's kind of better for somebody to name it after you than you to name it after yourself. So, one, when I look at amenities such as this, people say, wow, Jamel is speaking. Yeah, get used to this. When I see amenities such as this that are regional, that are going to bring tourists, and even what Councilman Carn said, I am in the nonprofit world. I've been in it for years. Trying to get grants, it's a lot easier if you name it after the municipality. But when we start, and some of these botanical gardens, or whatever you want to call it, amenities that are not botanical gardens, or there are gardens in the gardens, like the Atlanta Botanical Gardens has gardens in it, and you might name a patch in that garden after some family that gave a large endowment or something such as that. But it's still the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. So community input, I think, would be really, really nice during this election year, so we can see what the people in the city of College Park would like to name this. But overall, we went into an agreement with Fulton County, and we gave them the name. And this is just another one of those things on tonight's agenda that I have a very serious issue with.
I'll just say one last quick thing.
Go right ahead.
Well, I don't think this would necessarily be a disservice to residents at all. That's number one. I'm sure there are a lot of residents that would love this name for you, absolutely. You know, you've got the support of a lot of residents. So don't get me wrong, I don't think that this is a disservice to them. I think a lot of residents probably don't care what it's named as long as it's a nice place and they can go to it. I was only speaking to the long-term sustainability. That's all I was speaking to, y'all. It's not a personal thing. I was talking about long-term marketability, sponsorship prospects, and things along those lines. I don't want anyone to take it personal, but I'll put it at that, and whatever the majority thinks, I'm fine with it. We move on, and it's going to be a great venue either way. But I have to put that out there.
Councilman Carn, I don't mind if anybody takes it personal. Okay? And my thing again is there's nothing wrong with even putting a survey out in the community that names this botanical garden the Roderick Gay Botanical Garden. Why is it such a hurry to push something like this through for a project that has not even begun when we have time? Let's just do it right. Let's give the community the opportunity to give input. That's all.
Councilmember Gay.
You know, I really would just like to call for the vote, but it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be fair to my name not to comment. First of all, I like my name. It's Roderick Gay. That's not enough hours in tonight to talk about the contribution that the gays have made to this community and to this garden. I could be like Senator Booker and stand down here till tomorrow night and talk about this garden.
Please don't.
But I'm not. But I just want the community to know that I'm a degreed horticulturist. I went to Tuskegee and I only went there because I admired George Washington Carver. I thought what he did with the peanut was amazing. He didn't get to become rich, which is another situation. I some personal things I could say, but I don't think that that's appropriate. I think this project can stand on its own merit without. But I can tell you that we spent 30 years to get here tonight. 30 years to get to this point tonight. We got a member council 1 year and another one 12, but it took us 30 to get here. It It took the children of Israel 40 years to go 5 miles. But I don't want to go there. But I just want to say to y'all that I'm a degreed horticulturalist. And we've been working on Camp Truett for years. I mean, Joe knows this. They don't know. They don't have the knowledge of knowing. I went to every black commissioner. Michael Hightower, Bill Edwards, John Eves, Emma Darnell, Joe Corn, and they all said no. I'm talking now,
Yeah,
brother.
please let him finish.
They all said no. I substitute tea sometimes, and I ask the little kids just to get through the day, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we got a ball player, we got a barber, nothing wrong with these trades. We got a stripper, we got a police, but not nobody can talk about anything related to uncommon trades like botanical garden. The other thing is, it's just not about the name. It's about the legacy. If you had read your packet that we put together, you would get it. And it's going to take me to build it. It's going to actually take me to build it. I got to spend probably another 10 years just to get it to where it needs to be. So that when I'm dead and gone, somebody will walk and say, I wonder how this got here. Now, I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave it alone. I was on this council since 2010. I've seen 2 council members annex a ward with no study, no data, just straight hate. Just annex a ward since I've been up here. 2 men, 2 black men. I seen a councilman who was unelected, lost his election, a one-termer, sitting across the street, broke, unemployed, and he came to me and asked me, please help me, brother. And that's why you sitting up there now. And I'm not going to be philosophical about it, but if I had waited till after tonight to make the decision about what I made, that was quid pro quo to get this vote. But it ain't about quid pro quo. It's about how hard we've worked, and it'll be an honor for it to be named after me. And so I'm going to call for the vote. There's a motion.
Councilmember Gay, not everyone's had an opportunity to speak, and I do actually have something to say. When we broke ground on the bridge, we said we were going to name it after Congressman Scott. There's precedent that we name things after stuff that doesn't exist. We've done it before. And frankly, I think there's, said this to you before, there's 2 things I know about you. 1, you care about horticulture. And 2, you care about recreational spaces. And this just candidly would not be a thing without you. You have birthed this. So I don't particularly love the idea of naming things after folks. That's just a general thing. But if it's going to be named after anybody, I think it should be named after you.
Mayor, I'm going to say this. Jack Longino and I ran against him 3 times. And he and I innately did not like each other. Innately. I prayed sometime that he didn't even make it to the next council meeting. That's how he treated me. But I sat up here and I persevered. I persevered. And when he didn't get elected, he died a couple years later, he called me and he said, Roger, I'd like to ask you something. I said, what, sir? And I always call him sir, or mayor. He said, I would like for you to name the city hall after me. I would like your vote. And I said, you know, we've had a real bad relationship. I don't think I could do it, Jack. And he said, I said, but why are you calling me? You got the votes. He says, because it's important for me to tell you that I want your vote. And, you know, I thought about it. And then that man passed. And I would be less than a man, a human being, not to give that man that right, who stayed up here for 30 years and didn't do it, God knows what. So, you know, Mayor, I thank you for your words. I call for the vote.
I'd like to make another comment.
Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I want to be very clear that my comments are directed towards allowing community input. It's really kind of a crazy position to be in when you're asking for something for yourself. And I just think that this would be a much better decision if it was coming from somebody aside from 3 members of this governing body who I believe are going to vote for this tonight. But I think that it would just be something that would just be more commendable if the community could have a voice in the naming of this. Meaning if somebody else on this council, if the mayor had wanted to name this after Councilman, or the Tracy Arnold wanted to do this, then it would have been beautiful for them to put this on the agenda. It's just kind of weird to be defending what Councilman Gay is asking, but yet no one stepped up to the plate to put this on the agenda. And it really, really doesn't look good. So I don't see why a decision has to be made tonight. The same decision could be made a month from now. But it's just the way it's being done.
Councilmember, I have a question for you. I mean, are you going to go put out a sign in dirt tomorrow?
No.
I mean, like, this is when the garden actually opens, right?
This is when the garden actually gets
Okay, all right.
Is there a
Any
second?
other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
All right, the motion passes with Councilmembers Gay and Arnold in favor, Councilmember McKenzie against, and Councilmember Carn abstaining.
Agenda item 8E, consideration of an action on a request for approval of Sages.gov in the amount of $11,650 for an implementation fee. This item is being requested by Terry Jackson, Finance Director, and William Scott, Utilities Customer Service Manager.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8F, consideration of an action on a request to award facade improvement funds in the amount of $10,000 to Wrap-A-Lot Fresh Express. This item is requested by Interim Economic Development Director Brian Hooker.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion?
Discussion.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, I'd like to know where these funds are coming from. I see item number 6100. I see GL account 100, and maybe you can help me, Mr. Jackson. 100-75020-52-6130. Where is this money coming from? I see it's located, it's sponsored by Tracy Arnold. It's located in Ward 3. But when I look at the Ward 3 budget, I only see $3,000 has been allocated for this particular line item in this budget year. So I just would like to kind of get an understanding of where it's coming from.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, as I understand it, is coming from, it looks like the economic development budget.
Okay. So this is not coming from from the community enhancements for Ward 3?
No.
Okay, this is economic development. And that's why I had a question, and I couldn't, needed to be able to ask a question on this. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We need further discussion. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8G, consideration of an action on a request to allow East Creek Grading to perform milling and street resurfacing work on Skyline Drive from Herschel Road to Mount Vernon Way. The proposed cost for this project is $71,619.66. This additional request comes from Ward 4 Councilman Roderick Gay, who will allocate funds from his community enhancement budget to support this project.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion?
Discussion, I do need the
Mayor Pro Tem?
finance director again. I'm looking at the Ward 4 community enhancement priorities for 2024, 2025. I'm looking at the line item that is the GL that is quoted or mentioned in this item, which is GL account 100.4200.54.1400. I only see $65,000 in that line item period, that was allocated. But then I see that 22,000 have already been spent, which leaves a balance of less than $40,000. So I would like to know, where is the extra money coming from? Because this line item does not hold that in the community enhancements priorities.
I can answer
Councilmember Gay.
about my own community enhancements. That's a typo. It's supposed to be 650,000, and we will get that amended probably by the end of this week.
Well, I don't see it now, and I don't know if you have it as well, Mr. Jackson. Do you have 650,000 somewhere?
I currently do not have that figure.
Okay, so how can we vote on something that we're just talking about, just pulling rabbits out of a
We
hat?
could table it.
Yeah, I'd like to make
table
it,
it
I'd
because
like,
the work has
I'd like
been
to have
done.
this table, absolutely.
The work has been done, so we can table it, and we'll get back with you shortly.
Councilmember, you good?
Thank you.
With some good information. Mr. Jackson, we'll have that conversation.
Okay.
Because we've had that conversation, and we'll bring that back to the body.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're withdrawing your motion to approve?
Yes,
Okay, you got a motion to table it?
motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8H, consideration of an action on a request to approve Central Square 2025 annual renewal contract in the amount of $147,833.52. This is a request from Chief of Police Connie Rogers.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you,
with
Councilmember.
discussion.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Councilmember Carn, go right ahead.
Chief, one of the questions I had of one of these items in particular, I guess it was one of the more pricey ones. Obviously, I'm in support of this, we need the software and whatnot. One of the things I did see was the item 28. It's an MTC client AVL. I think that's the vehicle locators, right?
Yes, this is our CAD system, our vehicle locators, our LPR. This is all of that encompassed under Central Square.
So you'd be able to access the different patrol and vehicle locations?
Yes, we can do that now.
Right, because one of the questions I had at one of my last community meetings was specifically, how can we track the frequency of patrols if someone says, hey, we're increasing patrols over in this area. They want something quantifiable where they can, say, hey, it went up from this number to that number, so on and so forth. But this, the other thing I want to make sure that we cover is that what I read was that some departments with this, we're going to get the formal training for this stuff, right?
We've been using this
So
right
we've
here
been- it's
for
going. This is
this.
just a
This been
upgrade.
here since I got back.
Okay.
We've
At
been
least a
using
year or
Central
two.
Square for 2-3 years.
So this
now.
is just a renewal.
This is our renewal contract for our CAD system.
Okay, that answers my question. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item eight, 8I, consideration of an action on a request for emergency approval repair of fire control panel Node 12. It has a critical malfunction and replacement parts aren't available. Uninterrupted operations necessary to ensure safety and compliance. The cost of the repair is $54,377 and will be charged to account R&M building. This item is being requested by Giannis Barner.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion?
I had a quick question. Chief,
This is a GICC.
oh, this is GICC. Well, I guess it was in regards to, Giannis, okay. One of the things I did see on packet page 184 that kind of got me a little bit concerned. It's not a big deal, but it could end up being a big deal, I guess. Essentially, under the scope of work page down near the bottom, in terms of scope clarifications, it basically says no fire caulking has been included. And that kind of caught my eye because, I think that type of sealant is used to seal up little openings in buildings, small openings to prevent the spread of, fire and smoke. And I guess, in a sense, that would keep, fire from moving through walls. So if there's any way we can just add that, even though there's an unlikely chance, I just thought, that kind of fire caulking and that fireproof sealant that blocks things might be worth, if it's an extra couple of nickels to.
No, that's going to be added. What it wasn't there before.
Okay.
So it's going to be added in this.
So we're including that now?
Yes.
Okay, because it says no fire caulking has been included.
Yeah.
That was the worry. So previously,
right,
it's going in this time.
Yes.
Answers my question. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Item 8J, consideration of mayor and council to authorize the city manager through the purchasing department to conduct a request for qualification RFQ for project management services and design build for the planned botanical gardens in the city of College Park. This item is requested by Councilman Roderick Gay.
Motion. This is no cost. Should be no cost.
Second.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I'm sorry. I apologize because
What number?
the.
I didn't see that.
It's not in here.
Yeah.
It's not in my agenda.
It's not even on mine.
It's not on my agenda.
I thought this was on the last month's
I'm
thing.
voting for it again, man.
Yeah, it was.
But didn't we
Hold on, wait,
voted
hold on,
this
hold on, hold on,
last
hold on,
council
Madam Clerk,
meeting?
hold on.
Okay, let
Madam
me
Clerk.
double check my agenda. This might have been a typo from the previous presentation. Sincere apologies.
Madam Clerk, I've got item, hold on, let's
Yes,
sort it
you
out.
are correct.
That's what I thought.
It's Chemi
Staff-
Construction.
Staff
is
missed
Jay.
this. Let me continue reading. 8J would be consideration of an action on a request for approval to allow Chemi Construction Company, Inc., our on-demand contractor, to remove and haul off the fallen trees and debris from the city drainage culvert structure to prevent flooding upstream to residential homes in Ward 4 in the amount of $31,000. This is a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any further discussion? Has this work already been done? It appeared from the
No.
pictures. It looked like from the quote they said that they had already done it. Just wasn't sure. All right.
Tim is here. He didn't. No, hasn't been done.
Okay. No, hasn't been done, Mr. Lewis.
Tim or Raymond?
Raymond, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Ms. Cotton,
apologize.
this is Beverly Bearden's yard on York. The mayor want to know, has it been done?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mr. Cotton. Mr. Cotton said that it has not been done because you didn't reach a microphone, so everyone at home wouldn't be able to hear. But thank you, Mr. Cotton. I appreciate it. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Agenda item 8K, consideration of an action on a request to pay Chemi Construction Company $310,125 emergency replacement of a water main located on Hardin Avenue. This item is being requested by Timothy Lewis, Interim Public Works Director. This is a budgeted item. This item is located in Ward 3.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Mr. Lewis? Just a quick question for you on this one.
Good evening. How y'all doing today?
Great. How are you? Was this the project you were working on when my somewhat rambunctious dog and I saw you?
Yes.
I think this is a great example of how we are thinking about using our most money. And if you would, can you tell the residents a little bit about how this project came to be and what we can expect on that stretch of road for those residents in terms of improved water access and quality?
I sure can. I was working out in the field, I guess in 2004, and a brand new home was being built, and we excavated the ground, and we discovered that we had asbestos pipe. So, and during the budget time, I was labor too, but we really didn't have the money to do the infrastructure for that stretch of Hardin Avenue. And then on Hardin Circle, we discovered that we had a 1.5 inch galvanized pipe. So when they voted to do the 1% sales tax, I was like, well, okay, we'll have a little money that we can change this pipe, because once you see it, you're really supposed to change it. So I had the opportunity to put it on the agenda, and y'all blessed me and passed it. Hardin Circle, we didn't know we had asbestos until Kimmy Construction came to do the tap to upgrade the galvanized to a 2-inch brass. So that's how it came about that we had to go forward, because I wasn't going to let them tap into that asbestos. So right now, Hardin Avenue is pretty much blessed with brand new ductile pipe and a 2-inch galvanized. I mean, not galvanized, but brass.
So how long can we expect that project to pay dividends for the city? Like, how long will it last?
Well, right now, the project is complete, but we can't get a kill out there on the old asbestos. So today, Kimmy Construction went out and they inserted a valve. So tomorrow we'll be doing a test to see can we kill that line out. But right now, the resident is not on that line anymore.
But that new line, how long will it last?
Forever. Forever.
And so how far, you were telling me all this, but I want everybody to know, because I think it's really important that we're making these investments in infrastructure.
Yes, ma'am.
And how far is it buried beneath the ground, and what does that mean for our residents?
Well, it's about 5 feet in depth. So, the code for Georgia is 18 inches, but we at 5 feet, and the service is at about 3 feet.
So that means we're not going to be having burst water pipes.
Worry about no freezing or anything.
Okay. Yes, all right. Ma'am. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I really think that it's important information that people know this is how we're using these tax dollars to help improve infrastructure across the city. And I want to thank you and your entire team and your vision for making this happen for a great neighborhood in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did any of us have any questions for Mr. Lewis?
Tim, got a question.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a pretty good catch.
Yes, sir.
So putting it that low, I guess, brought it below the frost line in the ground.
Yes, sir.
Hard freezes. You don't have to worry about any of that. Do you think we have any other areas that may have asbestos pipe?
Yes, sir.
Concern. So how do we find them? How do we?
Already found.
All right.
Ward one, we, like I said, it's pretty much the same thing. I was out, we had to do some work, and we located it. So Ward 1, Flower Drive, which that'll be coming to y'all pretty soon, and Rugby Terrace be coming to y'all pretty soon. And then in Ward 3, be Jones Circle. That's galvanized pipe over there.
All right, well, keep digging. And one other thing, speaking of digging, I want to make sure when we cut into the street for repairs or whatever have you, I want us to try to expedite filling that in with the hot mix. It takes such a very, very long time, and I know y'all got a big schedule of stuff. And the other thing I notice is when we finally do fill it in, we leave some of the aggregate and stuff on the curb, in the gutter, in the grass, and nobody just picks that waste up and removes it.
Okay.
So I want us to be cognizant. I see that time and time again on different streets where we did the job, we did the repaving, we did the patch, but we left discarded old asphalt, crushing run and whatnot, just discarded it there. So I want us to make sure we're thorough there, because it's a great repair, but then it's ruined by it's just left out there. So I know that's just a simple pickup after you get done, but it makes a good job look like a good job.
Correct.
You follow what I mean?
Yes.
So that's really been one thing that's kind of irked me, but I want us to definitely step up our efforts when we make sure that we, put it back in top shape when we repair. So let's make sure we work on that.
Will do.
All right.
Any other discussion from Mr. Lewis? All right, thank you, Mr. Lewis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, for the next two agenda items, 8L and 8M, those were requested to be removed by Mr. Hicks.
Okay. They weren't part of the amendment of the agenda, though, so is there a motion to remove them?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8N, consideration of an action on a request to approve Prater's Flooring as a sole source vendor for the refinish in the Skyhawks basketball court. They're the only area-approved NBA vendor to do the work. This item is requested by Giannis Barner.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Item 8O, consideration of an action to approve a contract for service with Style Mob University in the amount of $75,000 to aid in academic enrollment, student housing support, to access grants, development programs, and educational initiatives for the city. This is a budgeted item from the Ward 3 Community Enhancement Funds requested by Councilwoman Tracy Arnold.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Again, I see this is coming from the Ward 3 Community Enhancement Budget line, GL account number 100-6122-54-7530. When I look at what we approved last year for the community enhancements for Ward 3, under this particular, I see two GL line items here ending with the 7530. One is for 68,218. The other is for 65,000. Apparently 44,000 of that has been spent already. So that would have been like 130,000 minus 44,700. Just trying to figure out two things. Mr. Jackson, maybe you can help me with this. Two things. Where can line GL 100-6122-54 7530, what are those particular funds supposed to be used for?
Excuse me, point of clarification.
Councilmember
Mayor.
Arnold.
So, I understand that, Councilwoman McKenzie is questioning every budget line and asking about accounts and things of that nature. I do want to make sure that I add to the conversation something that she may not be aware of, which is I had a meeting with the city manager, the former city manager, in February. February, I can't remember the date to be exact, but my assistant can give the date and the notes, the transcript. I met with the city manager before we made a decision to transfer funds from my council Ward 3 enhancement budget, because it was obvious that we were not going to use the $700,000 that were allocated for the recreation, the equipment for the park on Godby Road. And so it was his recommendation that those funds, that $700,000, get reallocated. His suggestion, which is how we funded the software for Biolytics. So I want to make that very clear. So I realized that she has a lot of questions of where money is coming from. That was supposed to happen. It's to my understanding, I asked my legislative assistant, he's been using that same account number for everything that we have done in Ward 3.
Okay.
So there may be an issue with this account, but the funding is supposed to be available for us to utilize.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, this is coming from 7530, so the account that the councilwoman just mentioned is the one that ends in 7851. So I just want us, this is the reason why I had issues with things being on the consent agenda. If we can show that these funds have been transferred or were transferable, the city manager can't speak now because he's been terminated. So that is hearsay unless we actually have documentations that show that there was transfers. So I would like to see on these items and all the items that I'm going to mention for the rest of this evening, I would like to see the documentation that shows that there were actually budget transfers allowing funds to be used. Because if they were in fact transferred, why do we not have the GL number that reflects that transfer? So I just need some answers.
Mayor, may I?
Councilmember Gay?
The city manager's not here anymore. He's no longer with this organization. And there are a lot of things that may have been said or not done. We'll have a new city manager soon. But I did know, and the public heard it, that every elected official had $1 million. It was very ambiguous, vague. It was just a quick, she take $1 million. Everybody had $1 million. And I commend Councilman McCoy for even doing that. I never would have thought in a million years to do that. So he gets credit for that. So, Mr. Jackson, we met with the city attorney, myself, Dr. Darren, about my item that apparently Thea Bradley wrote 65 is supposed to be 650 because I only spent 2. I ain't no fool and give myself 200,000 and we had $1 million. So we need to go back and visit that so that we don't continue to have these concerns and innuendos from members of the body.
Just trying to be transparent and show fiscal accountability. Again, if we had just waited to terminate the city manager till after the meeting, we might have been able to get some of those questions answered. But right now, again, my concern is, and you and I have spoken about this, is that in terms of doing an audit, it's important for us as leaders, when we set these budgets to have forethought, okay? When I set my budget, I have adhered to my budget. And when I needed to do a transfer, the transfers have been done. So my concern is we're still in the midst of an audit. These are numbers that we're going to be looking at in the next audit. And we need to make sure that all the line items have been properly utilized, that if we're transferring funds, it needs to be a transfer. It doesn't bother me. I'm not okay with my colleagues using the amount of money that we put into the budget. But my concern is that if they're going to use it, they need to use it properly and go through the proper protocol.
Councilmember Arnold,
I call for the vote.
is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right. So council members Carn, Arnold, and Gay in favor. Councilmember McKenzie opposed. The motion passes.
Agenda item 8P, consideration of an action to approve a contract for services with Sage Hands in the amount of $86,000 for contractual services for their work with displaced citizens of Chelsea Gardens and other properties in Ward 3, which includes apartment/housing, lead outreach, packing assistance, moving assistance, elderly/handicap transport, and storage accommodations. This is a budgeted item from Ward 3 Community Enhancement Funds requested by Councilwoman Tracy Arnold.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Same thing, except I don't mind. I don't mind them voting whatever way you want to vote, but we're going to say what we're going to say. Again, this is the same line item that a services agreement, money for a service agreement is being taken from a line item that is for parks and for building parks. That's GL account number 100-6122-54-7530. $86,000 to Sage Hands. My objection to this particular contract are several. One is we heard the property manager say that the owner of the property was going to pay for moving expenses. My feeling is if the city of College Park is going to invest $86,000, which is not too much to invest into our people, that those funds be used differently than the relocation of the individuals in Chelsea Gardens, because the money for them to be relocated is supposed to be provided by a private citizen who owns a property that he's investing over $20 million into. To me, this is the cost of doing business. But to take $86,000 of taxpayer dollars and give a property owner a pass, and I heard them say earlier today that the person gave me $4,000. Nobody owns me for $4,000, $10,000, $100,000, $20 million. I'm not obligated to any individual that made a donation to me to vote or to make a move that would cause injustice to our citizens. I don't see what is being done to assist the residents of Chelsea Gardens with not just relocation, but getting started, getting back on their feet. There have been no community meetings held, no resource fairs set up for the individuals. And I also believe that there is another remedy to help folks. There are people that are just don't want to move. And what is wrong with finding a way to allow people to stay on the property or to be able to guarantee them that they can return to the property? I'm not happy with the way this is being done. I think it looks underhanded. Something smells fishy, and it does make it look like we are in cahoots with a business owner in this city. And so, whereas I am all for doing every single thing that we can do, I don't see where this $86,000 is going to individuals to help them get back on their feet. They have been through an injustice. They have been through horrid conditions. And if taxpayer dollars are going to be used, it needs to be used to help citizens, not with what somebody already said they would pay that bill. So, and once again, just want to make the record clear that there is not funding listed in the community enhancements under 7530 to cover both Style Mob and to cover $86,000 for Sage Hands. Now, should my fellow legislators, who I'm a little disturbed, right? And I think I have a right to be, because what I'm feeling and what I'm sensing is that as we come to the end of this budget year, people are waking up and saying, oops, I've got money left. I need to throw it here. I need to throw it there. But the beautiful thing about it is if we don't expend all the money that we budgeted, you know where that money goes? It goes back into the fund. It goes back into our reserves. It goes back. And those of our citizens who have had concerns as to whether or not we might be over budget this year, not just having wasteful spending and throwing money all over the place at the last minute and calling people on the phone to even ask them, saying, I've got money left over. How would you like for me to spend it? What you need? Okay? So it could really help us as a city is if we have funds that are left, that we just let them go back where they go, and let's start again next year.
Mayor, may I?
Councilmember Gay?
All right, so first of all, during the election of the mayor's race, the property owner was gonna give donations to people. And one of my colleagues who's doing all this talking was one of the first ones in his office getting money. Second thing is, my colleague who's talking want to talk about taxpayers' money. We had a state of Ward 1. I thought I was at a CNN studio. I seen pictures as big as this wall. So I don't want to go, I don't want our community to say, here they go, it started. But why I'm saying this is that I want to remind my colleague that I've been up here a long time. I've been up here 10 years. And you got a right to talk and keep talking. But one thing you're going to have to remember is that when you point one finger, you're going to have three of them pointing back at you. And so, as the old people say, keep it up.
All right, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I
like the call
Thank you
for the
very
vote.
much. You know what? If the shoe fits, I'll wear it. Okay?
She called for the vote.
Wait, I'm
She
still
did-
speaking. I'm speaking right now.
Councilmember Carn has not had an opportunity to speak.
And I'm still speaking right now. Okay? So I am not throwing, I am concerned about items on this, what was considered to be a consent agenda. And you see all the discussion that has been had with these items that we were just going to throw under the rug. On April 7th, Mayor Bianca Motley Broom expressed her serious concerns about what was being done with the consent agenda. And I heard her, okay? And as a result, I am not allowing things to go on the consent agenda that just look like it's just some type of pork belly spending or whatever you want to call it. So this is not about, if people want to make it about them, yeah, I'm disappointed because I see people putting this type of stuff on an agenda. But at the end of the day, it's about the agenda. And as far as it goes with anything that I have done, I sure didn't do some of the things that have been done over here. And if I've made mistakes, watch me correct them.
Councilmember Carn?
Well, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but I just want us to be consistent up here. Now, I did not get a modified packet here. So what I have on this agenda item is $50,000 for contractual services. I don't have an issue with that. Obviously, I think the residents there need help in whatever kind of way we can get it to them. But at the same time, I want us to make sure that we're consistent up here. The item before that, 8-0, it's a motion to approve $75,000 for the project, community proposal, and it's there on the paper. This is 8P, it says $50,000. I'm fine with the $50,000. I think
right.
even,
It's online.
I understand. I just don't have the online version. I go with what I looked at. And one of the concerns, again, this is just a concern, the public, had the published document.
This was published.
And we put the new version out today, right?
Yes, sir.
This morning.
Well,
And they should have printed you a new packet.
I did not get the email.
Okay.
But I'm not against doing the project. I don't want you to get me wrong. This morning, I was doing a community build over in one of my areas with the community folks, so I didn't get a chance to see the modification and the update. I just want us to be consistent up here. I'm fine with the $50,000. If we want to add the 30 on, I'm not against that necessarily, but just with this just being here on the agenda, I feel a whole lot more comfortable. And this is just me. I would feel a lot more comfortable if we just pass this as is and add the 30 or additional monies that we need at the next earliest moment that we can. I don't think we'll spend down this within the 2 weeks between the meetings. So I think just so that we make sure that we're doing things as advertised, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to just go with this, with what we got, and add to whatever else is needed. If that's what's needed, I'm fine with it. I just wanted to make sure that we have presenting to the public the same thing that we got in the packets. And again, I did miss the update, but I understand there was an addition. And I'm not against additions, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're doing things as advertised as best as possible. If there's any interest in that, I would just suggest we go with what we got on paper and add to it at the next meeting, which will be literally, a few days from now, 2 weeks from now.
Councilmember Arnold?
Yes.
I thought you might want to say something.
Oh,
Did I? No, I'm sorry. I just assumed you were going to say something.
No, my packet and what's online, the electronic packet, has the 86 and the contract supporting it.
I have 86 on mine.
I've got the 86.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion?
I call for the vote, please.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, so Councilmembers Carn, Arnold, and Gay in favor. Councilmember McKenzie opposed. The motion passes.
Can we table this? Because,
I was gonna say, why don't we get Mr. Jackson on there, and then we can, at the next
table
meeting.
this one, please. Motion to table this item.
There's a motion to table it. Is there a second?
I've got a second with a
There's
suggestion. For
Okay,
possible,
all right, so Councilmember Carn, you have seconded. Go right ahead.
I understand, the logic in tabling it. My suggestion would be, and this would be just a friendly amendment to it, if we can have our finance director at least be an authorized signer, as opposed to chucking the entire thing.
Was it either or signature or both?
Both. And I'd like to make a recommendation.
Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
I ask that the mayor be the second authorized signer on the account.
Until Ms. Miller comes, we can switch that at the next meeting, if that's amenable.
That's fine.
Okay, so, Councilmember Gay, you have a motion to table right now? Do you want to withdraw that?
Yes, and make the motion that it be Terry Jackson, Finance Director, and Mayor Broom,
Motley Broom.
Mayor Motley Broom,
As authorized signers?
as authorized signers.
All right. So, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Any discussion?
Terry, so this will make it where we can continue business, whatever we need to conduct.
Correct.
Bank transactions.
Correct.
right? Okay. I didn't want to table the whole thing. I said, obviously, it's there for a reason that we need to, keep moving on and handling our finances correctly, so. all
Mr.
right.
Jackson, who's on there now?
Right now, the former finance director and former city manager.
Oh, my goodness. All right, that needs to
Yeah.
be updated. All right.
So we need to update that.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Next agenda item, 10, City Attorney's Report.
No report this evening, Madam Mayor.
Next item, City Manager's Report.
I think the report was submitted already.
Yes, indeed. All right.
I did not receive a copy of that report.
I think it was emailed out.
At what time?
Yep, which,
Yeah. We'll make sure. They'll go.
Okay, unfortunately, I don't have it to bring up on the screen.
that's all right.
Apologies, Mayor.
So I guess that's being done.
Next item, report of mayor and city council.
Okay. We have had an interesting couple of weeks. I want to congratulate my colleagues on a lot of exciting things that have happened. Congratulations, Councilmember Arnold, on the first annual Flavor Fest. That's a great event, and looking forward to everything getting bigger and better. I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it from you. Looking forward to the build at Embarcadero tomorrow morning, Councilmember Carn. Should be a fun time, and if you haven't signed up, come on and help us put together a playground. I did not talk a couple of weeks ago about some of the great things that are going on not only in our city but beyond, and want to thank the ATL Airport District for an amazing Spin the District. It's a little belated, but it was still such a great chance to show off College Park and to show off all the wonderful events and attractions that we have. And they had a bit of a time in LaGrange the night before because it was raining, and so there were several cyclists who were out of the race because of broken collarbones and the like. But we had a beautiful day for racing, and again, want to thank the ATL Airport District for their support in all that we do here in the district, which is College Park, Hapeville, and Union City. Also want to congratulate our amazing heroes who were honored at the Rotary Club luncheon, from the fire department, Chad Carley, and from the police department, Officer Porch, who we all know and love. She was there to make sure that we were represented well, and it was a celebration of all of the heroes in the airport area. I've heard amazing stories about firefighters giving CPR to dogs and delivering babies and rescuing victims of sex trafficking. I mean, these are really amazing people who serve our community day in and day out. And I was honored to be there to support our honorees. And if you see them in the city, please congratulate them. They are the heroes of the year. So we are looking forward to another great session of one-on-ones tomorrow. I believe they are all full, but if you would like to sit down and chat with me, you can go to mayorbianca.com and click on schedule a one-on-one, and would love to hear what is on your mind. And we will be continuing to work. I'm looking forward to, I've already asked the library if I can come and read this summer because I love reading to kids. And we will be doing some really fun things around trying to make sure that we are ensuring that our kids do not have brain drain over the summer. So let's all pitch in, because the next school year will be here before we know it. But we've been celebrating graduates in the last couple of weeks, and that has been really fun. And I want to hats off to the GICC for all of their hard work in all of the graduations that have come through and continue to come through. We know we did the Fulton County schools, we did Spelman. Thank you, Giannis, to you and your staff for making sure that everyone who came through the door felt welcomed and the experience was top-notch. So on that note, I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. First of all, this evening, I want to say a special thank you to everyone who sent me well wishes, people that brought me food. It was so good. The prayers that you prayed for me over the past 2 weeks. It's been a trying 2 weeks, and I am truly humbled by your kindness and your generosity of heart. And of course, when you find yourself shut in, you get a lot of time to think about life, to think about direction. And of course, during that time, I had a lot of time to think about my city and the direction that we have been going in and the direction that I would love to see us go in. And I'm so grateful for the words of Pastor Wallace tonight and the prayers. Those of you that know prayer, pray for College Park. We need it. Over the past 14 days, the average daily increase of newly confirmed COVID cases in Georgia has been 593, and approximately 70 persons have been hospitalized per day due to this virus. Even though we do not hear a lot about COVID-19, it is still here in Georgia. And I want to say to everyone, continue to take precautions and follow best practices to protect your health. And if you get ill, like I did, get tested and see a medical practitioner. Your life may depend on it. Yesterday, we had an awesome, wonderful, fantabulous Ward 1 budget meeting. And I want to thank Terry Jackson and Michelle Johnson and Officer Posh was on there, and when we had the question about some of the police technology, I was like, why didn't you say something? But we had Officer Posh there, and she did let me know, for those of you that are listening that were on the call last night, that we do have shots fired detectors in several locations throughout the city. And we're going to follow up on that again at our next Ward 1 meeting, which will be announced in the next couple of days. So it was a very good exchange, and I'm just grateful for being able to be a financial steward for the city of College Park, and a transparent steward at that. I want to give special congratulations to Mr. Michael Hicks, the amazing, phenomenal Mr. Michael Hicks, for completing his training and receiving your certification as a city manager. Duh. So we do have a person on staff right now who is certified to be a city manager. I'm proud of you, Mr. Hicks, and I want to thank you for everything that you do for us in the city of College Park. You're truly a leader, you're a scholar, and you're a genius. So congratulations. I'm also happy to announce that crime is down 21% over last year in Ward 1. We were at 18, but now we're down to 21%. And that is thanks to our wonderful public safety team, led on by none other than Chief Connie Rogers. And we appreciate you for looking out for us. But I also want to say that I also believe that we have more neighbors in Ward 1. Even through all the trials and tribulations we have gone through over the last 14, 15 months, it has made us more aware of who lives next to us. And I think that we've begun to get this, I am my neighbor's keeper. So I want to say to Ward 1, let's keep up the great work. Let's continue to keep one another safe. And of course, thank you, Chief Rogers. As I've been very vocal in this meeting, and I will continue to do all that I can, I am very concerned about the situation at Chelsea Gardens. And one, because last year in October, I was in a meeting with Legal Review with the former owners and really getting on them with Jerry Silvers because they had all of those citations and violations, and something needed to be done. I wished that at that time that we had even had some of the organizations and the groups that are involved in trying to help persons move be the same organizations and groups that would have helped persons get a better quality of life and help to advocate. Yes, the persons in Chelsea Gardens have been failed. They've been failed by systems. They've been failed by this government. And we need to do all that we can to really make it up. I do not feel that the direction that has been taken is advantageous for the people. I think it's great to have financial support to help people move, but we have people that need a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, and an opportunity to have one of our core values that relates to quality of life. And so I'm bothered that the landlord has been given a pass, in my opinion, because we have interjected city money to be able to pay for what he vowed that he would pay for. City money could go to help our families reestablish themselves. But now what we're looking at is somebody will be paid to move the families, but who is actually helping the families once they get situated? I want to thank all the members of the community who have been going in there. Again, like I said, when I was told that I wasn't wanted in there, I don't go where I'm not wanted, especially by leadership. So I stayed out. But I have been able to assist families through my money, not city money. My personal dollars have gone to assist families in Chelsea Gardens. And I will continue to do all that I can from where I stand. And I will continue to advocate for all families in the city of College Park. Yes, I am the councilwoman for Ward 1, but as you can see, when we vote, I'm no longer just the councilwoman for Ward 1. So therefore, anything that happens in this city should be of importance to all of us. I had a situation today and concerns over last week, ever since the draft agenda came out, that we had consent agenda items that we were going to approve in the budget where the line items were just not meeting the cut. And I feel that going forward, unless we can be more transparent, that we don't even need to have a consent agenda. And we will deal with that in the days to come. On a good note, I'm looking forward to opening our quiet room in City Hall. We will do that at the end of this month. What we're looking at is we just got a couple more details that need to be ironed out. But as we will definitely open it up while we are still in Mental Health Month. And May is Mental Health Month. I also want to take this opportunity to invite people out. We did not have our Mother's Day. I'll just leave it so the camera can see. We were not able to have our Mother's Day brunch in the garden due to inclement weather. We're planning another event at the end of this month, which is entirely financed by sponsored dollarships and donors. No city funds going for this event. We're going to be having Harvest and Harmony in the garden, and we will be celebrating not just our mothers, but it will be a combination of mothers and fathers and families. And that's going to be held on May 31st at 12:30 at Brady Recreation Center in our College Park Senior Garden. Finally, we are coming up on Memorial Day, and I want everybody to have a safe Memorial Day. If you're traveling, give yourself extra time on the road, and just know we want you to come back and enjoy again your Memorial Day. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Carn?
All right, a couple of things. I was hoping we would get out of here early, but I guess so much for that. Pastor Wallace, thank you for the public comments. We thank you for the invocation. Believe me when I tell you, your words did not fall on deaf ears. I think everybody heard you in this community as well as up here on this dais here. There are some serious challenges in Chelsea Gardens, and we're working our way through those. I want to make sure, and Tim, I guess, Tim, I see you still here. I do want to make sure so that there's no misunderstanding now. The city, we have not shut off any water to that apartment complex, have we?
Mr. Lewis, can you just make sure you come to the microphone so everyone can hear? Thank you.
The only time that we cut the water off is when they're doing repairs. Once they complete the repairs, we go back out and turn it back on.
Okay. I mean, that's something that I guess it has to be done temporarily when you
Yes.
do repairs. Like I said, there are a lot of challenges that are going on there in that complex. One of the things we got to do is coordinate better when we're dealing with an owner or management or whatever have you in terms of what's happening. I did see the press conference, and I understand there were a lot of break-ins and removal of copper pipe and so on and so forth. So I guess that exacerbated repairs through that process that normally you wouldn't have as many, I would imagine. But again, no one has been instructed to cut off any water for residents at all. We want to see if there's something that we can do to do additional services, or if we can provide water or whatever we can do to make sure that everybody's covered and we're prepared when that comes in terms of what we need to look at. I know we reached out to Coca-Cola. That was my suggestion when the pipes froze 2 years ago, where we went sub-zero for 6 days. Mm-hmm. My suggestion was to reach out to Coke for water for residents, and we did just that, and that went over pretty well. So I would recommend maybe we reach out to them and see if they'd be interested in helping us out a little bit. They helped us out with quite a few pallets last time, but we want to do everything we can to help out. There are a couple of things that we need to look at in terms of what we're doing and what we've been doing for our residents in need. There is not a meeting here where I'm not advocating for those without, if you've been watching these meetings. I do believe that everybody up here does truly care about this city. We have our different methods of getting to the same solutions and different proposals and whatever have you, but I think we need to work towards making sure our residents are covered as always. Immediate relief is necessary. I established and worked to establish the Let's Power Up Our Neighbors program, which is one of the first in anywhere in the metro Atlanta area where we collect funds from communities, from other residents to help those that are on the cutoff list for electricity and so on and so forth. We've raised thousands and thousands of dollars towards that amount. I want us to work to double those efforts to see to it that we're making sure we're getting what we can in to help as many people out as possible. Now, we are not evicting any tenants. We don't do evictions and we don't participate in evictions. I want to make sure that that's clear. Dealing with a private property situation and a contract between a tenant and a landowner is a difficult situation that a municipality or government or county, stepping into the middle of that is generally not the right direction. But at the same time, we have to provide wraparound services. We have to partner with community providers and services. like I said at the beginning of this meeting, if you're depending on government to solve all of your issues, you're going to be let down, and that's guaranteed. It does take community partners to make this happen. It takes our churches. It takes our community organizations. It takes our schools. It takes everybody working together collectively to move things forward. So we want to make sure we're reaching out more and more often. Pastor, I also wanted to invite you to our Boys to Men Summit, which is going to be July 9th at the Gateway Arena, at the basketball arena. This is specifically for our young youth, young men who are dealing with the forces at play against them just in society in general, from being who they are. We're going to fill that community, that hall with our young people. We had over 200 participants last year. We're expecting even more this year. We're going to end it with a pastor's roundup in terms of encouragement for our young men. We've got some workshops that are really showing them the essence of what it means to be a responsible young man and how to grow and deal with the consequences of your actions, financial literacy, so on and so forth, dealing with the justice system and the challenges there, literacy, the whole nine. We're going to work towards that, and it's going to be a great event. So I want to reach out to you and make sure you're one of those pastors that are going to close us out and wrap our arms around our young men and try to send them in the right direction. You know, we want to make sure they're getting away from the negative and put them on the path for the right direction here. A couple other things I did have. I wanted us to get, if we could get a consensus on the date for Congressman Scott. Last week, his chief of staff came out, and I accompanied him to the bridge and to the bridge site, and his staff, they did select a preferred location out there. I guess he was waiting to tentatively see if that June 16th worked. He had family that may be flying in town and so on and so forth. So if there is consensus to accommodate that date, I think it's going to be a great event. I understand the bridge will be finished end of this month, 1st of June, so we'll have enough prep time. And we're doing some things there, as well as enhancements to the bridge to make sure the appearance and things are cleaned up. Since we're going to have a lot of company over there, we want to make sure we're looking right. And it did occur to me, if we're opening that pedestrian bridge, there are going to be a lot of people from our hotel campus, from the convention center, from the Gateway Arena, that well, they're going to want to walk across that bridge and see it, which is understandable. It's going to be a great landmark for us. But it occurred to me, if you walk over to the end of it, it's not in great shape. So I've been talking with Public Works, and we're going to try to clean that area up a bit, make sure that it's presentable for folks that want to go to the end of the bridge. Now, the streets are blocked off and whatnot and cordoned off because that area is not really supposed to be accessible to the public. But the end of the bridge, there is the 12-foot walkway that takes you all the way up to Main Street, to Martyr. So we're trying to do some cleanup in that 4-square area, though, with some signage of, coming soon. I've been working with economic development and such to make sure folks that come and visit, when they do cross over to the bridge, they see what's going to be upcoming, some of the things we are doing and working on in the proposals, so that they see that the 6 West development is going to be moving forward, so on and so forth. The other thing I do have, again, I would like us to reach a consensus on that date, if that date is okay with everyone.
Councilmember, to that point, and this has been going back and forth all day because I saw it in the city manager's report that was the date. It was not cleared by me. I'm not sure if anyone else was asked about it. And frankly, to have it out there, and it looks like the congressman's staffer said that's great for the congressman, but no one consulted the entire governing body, and that's just inconsiderate.
Well, I haven't seen the city manager's report at all. I don't think it should have been in any report, because from what I was told, it was tentative based on his schedule, and that was where it was left.
He just came and said it was great. That was a great date for him.
I did call, and I said, well, it was tentative the last time we left off. We took the site visit. I said, I think it would be good if somebody came and just firmed up if that's the request or not. That way, everybody was clear on it. So I'm hoping that cleared it up. If there is consensus for that date, I thought that was right before the GMAs, I think, which start on the 20th. So they're out of session, I guess, for those couple of days. But if we're gonna move forward with the ceremony of the opening, I think that date, and if everyone can check their calendars and see if that works for them, I think it'd be good to move forward with that.
Councilmember
Couple
Arnold,
of-
does it work for you?
So, you know, it is hard to do things in the middle of the day. And I think I saw, when I looked at it, it was like 12 to
11 o'clock or something.
I think
11
he-
and 12.
He requested like 10 or 11 a.m.
It's on,
Yeah.
it's on
Yeah.
Monday, June 16th, from 11 to 12. Are there any other options on dates? Like, can we get a weekend day or a little later on in the evening?
Well, I wish we would have asked him when I said, well, you need to come here. And
He said it was great because
firm
that's the
it
date
up.
that he knew.
Yeah, I thought he
this
was
is-
telling us that
I'm-
that
I'm
was the
not,
date it was
like,
gonna
this
be.
is, I think we're expected to all go along with it. I don't think that we're in a space to really say that that's something that we can do.
Well, I just wanted to be clear and clarify one thing. That was the congressman's proposed date. I didn't want anyone to think that the city manager came up with that date, or I came up with that date, or anybody proposed the date at all. We said, well, the bridge will be finished end of May, first week of June. We knew that through Prime, through C.W. Matthews. So that's the date that they came up with. Now, if that doesn't work for anybody, then I guess someone will have to reach out to the congressman and tell him that's not going to work, I suppose. All right, so what's the consensus?
Let's see what our options are besides the 16th.
All right, so who's going to reach out to the
And
office
so
and see
I just want to add, though, if it is the 16th, I would like to see if we can do it later on in the afternoon, right?
All right,
If
somebody
it's a
get-
possibility.
I'm happy to reach out.
All right, well, I'm going to reach out as well. And,
That doesn't make sense. One of us needs to reach out.
well, I've been in contact with them for the last couple of weeks. They wanted to do a site visit, and, they took a look, and,
That's fine. That's fine. But if you can just keep us all in the loop, that'd be great.
oh, absolutely. That's why I told them to come here this evening. I said, well, it's not firm, but if that's a consensus from your end, from the congressman's end, then you need to bring it to us. So, last couple of things I did have, I would suggest, I would like to add personnel to the executive session, and particularly, in light of this evening's action items. So if there's no objection there, I wanted to mention a couple of things. Last thing I do have, residents, we definitely are going to have a playground build tomorrow. This is, I guess, a historic playground build in one of our communities. This group, Kaboom, which is Playful Cities USA, they have over 17,000 playground projects that they've completed in the United States. Here in the metro area, this is one of the few that they have negotiated to do on private property, I think, which is a big plus for that particular community. So it's going to be very exciting, and we're excited about that. The literacy program, our book mobile is out and about. We're going to do an unveiling at some point, along with, we've been partnering with Fulton County Schools for advice and counsel and guidance towards the type of books. I have some books that are made available now, the number of our multifamily communities, so that is a good thing. If anybody is in need of some children's books, we got a lot of them. So let me know. We'll get a box of them to everybody that is interested. Part of that is to prevent what's called the summer slide. And the summer slide is when kids get out of school, which will be in the next couple of weeks. On average, they tend to lose 25% of their reading skills throughout the summer from lack of having some books in their hands. So that's part of that program to see if we can try to curb some of that summer slide. Chief, we definitely, we're gonna be expecting your team to double up our efforts, in Hawthorne Station in the neighborhood, so we wanna definitely, okay, good deal. Well, we definitely, wanna work there. Our camera installs, I guess that's gonna be forthcoming here.
Chief, can you come to this microphone? Thank you so much.
We'll be placing a flock camera at the entrance, but it takes about 30 days. We've already paid the invoice. We're just waiting on the camera to come in. We already got the location set up of where it will be installed.
Okay, and Mike, we want to work with the PTZ camera and the fixed cam. I know we were going to get some locations, so let's make sure this week we go out there, and I want to just verify what you all have already. I know you did some reconnaissance out there to see where the best locations might be, so we want to make sure we get those up just as soon as possible. I think that's all I got here. Again, with these issues, in terms of our multifamily communities, we've got to make sure we come up with some type of a structure of doing some things a bit more proactively in terms of preventing some of this stuff from happening, because we're going to be dealing with some of that in the future as well. Now, one of the things I'd like to suggest is a workshop of some sort. In my head a couple of years ago, I had the idea of figuring out a way, and city attorney, I don't know, we've got to figure out how we can, legally do something along these lines. Figuring out a way to partner with one of our hotel or motel operators in terms of setting up an arrangement as a permanent partner for instances where we may need some temporary relocation services. So I want to come up with something along those lines that may work, where we do have an outlet, because, again, a lot of our multifamily communities are substandard. I've been fighting for that to make sure we make the changes necessary, and we're starting the process. The ordinances are in place, and we've been enforcing those ordinances, and we have been getting some change from some of these owners that did not want to fix up their properties. I've got one on Camp Creek now, I said, that reversed their way of thinking, and they're doing a multi-million-dollar upgrade now, but it was because of the enforcement and the ordinances that we placed on them, where they understood either they were going to close up shop or invest millions of dollars into these apartments. So I'd like us to look at a plan, something along those lines, with a partner that I'm sure we could work something out where that would be a go-to point, because we got some other issues along the Godby corridor that's going to have to, it's going to be fix it up or close it up too. And that's just how it's going to have to be, because we cannot keep having substandard conditions for residents here. That's something that I committed to eliminating in terms of this blight. I appreciate everybody's support on helping with this elimination. We're going to continue with the multifamily task force until we get this problem nipped in the bud, where there is no blight in this city. That is the goal. So that's all I got. Thank y'all.
Councilmember Arnold?
Thank you. Over the past 2 weeks, I initiated a rapid response team to support the citizens who reside in Chelsea Gardens apartment complex. This team currently includes city staff, the city attorney's office, the city manager, representatives from the apartment complex, and the nonprofit partners, which you heard from earlier this evening. And it has resulted in supporting marginalized citizens with wraparound services, relocation services, and placing them in safe, healthy, and habitable living conditions. Now, that's not to say that everything is done. I think that we heard earlier that the citizens they're going to still need support. Transitioning from homes where you've been for decades, it can be traumatic. And so I'm committed to making sure that we continue to have services and support resources for those constituents. I also participated in the CCMA, and that's the Clayton County Municipal Association retreat, where my counterparts and I discussed moving Clayton County forward with some projects with economic development and community development. And I am looking forward to bringing more information as some of those things come to fruition with some of those projects. I also had the opportunity to participate in the finalization of our budget workshops, and to meet with the Juneteenth Planning Committee, with our local vendors on the Godby Road corridor, right there at the Southampton Plaza, in preparation for the parade. A lot of the businesses there were concerned about the route of the parade and what type of impact, if any, it was going to have to their businesses. And so we came up with a plan where there will not be any negative impact to their businesses and how they could participate in the parade, and then also offer some type of activities after the parade is over. And speaking about the vendors on the Godby Road corridor, this past weekend, the mayor mentioned earlier about our first annual Flavor Fest that we had over at the Tracy Wyatt Rec. You know, as I mentioned at the event, you know, I don't know a soul that doesn't like a good party. Parties are really fun. We do it all the time, but this was not about us having a party. This was very purposeful. You know, Godby Road, the old National Godby Road corridor, has a multitude of businesses, and those business owners don't get the same visibility as other parts of the city. So the purpose of this Flavor Fest, this food truck festival, was to be able to give them the opportunity to be able to have a spotlight, right, where people would know the services that are available on the Godby Road corridor. And one in particular, I think everybody knows Rap-A-Lot. Andre came over to the festival. He brought over his puffs, and people were sitting at the table eating on those puffs. They were like, "Oh my God, these are so good. Where are you again?" They didn't even know that his business existed down in that plaza. And so I think that it's very important that when we have these events, that we make sure that we're being thoughtful of what these events are about. And so that's what Flavor Fest is. And I'm praying and vowing that we continue to host this event and make sure that we spotlight the businesses that are typically forgotten about, and they exist on that old National Godby Road corridor. I would like to thank the planning committee, and it was a lot of them. And I want to make sure that I don't forget anyone, and I see Sean in the back, so he can keep me righteous if I do forget. But this project was actually led by Mr. Quan Harris. He came to me one day and he said to me he wanted to volunteer, and he was like, "I want to bring something to you." So he came up with this idea of a DJ battle. And then one night I was talking to my kids, and they were talking about how they went to this food truck festival. And I was like, you know what? This might be a thing. And so giving Quan that idea to go along with this DJ battle was born the Flavor Fest. And so I want to thank him and his entire team, Miss Jerisa Brunson and everyone in Parks and Rec, Mr. Ronnie Wyatt and the entire police department, Mr. Samuel Nelms in Public Works, the fire department, the Tau Epsilon Omega chapter Alpha Kappa Alpha, Favor House, and Mr. Ray Taylor. Oh, Ray cooked all the food. He cooked chicken and hot dogs and hamburgers, and people enjoyed that too. And of course, I know this is not an inclusive list of everyone who helped to support this event. Please do not charge it to my heart, charge it to my head, because I can't remember everything, but I'm trying. But I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm looking forward to the event growing and for us to continue to highlight, spotlight Godby Road, the business owners there, and everyone who calls their business home here in the city of College Park. I want to also congratulate Mr. Hicks on completing his city manager certification. And I'm looking forward to you bringing that AI, assistive technology initiative back for us to see if we can provide some support to staff. I have a personal request for Godby Road, which is I would like to see some flags for the Memorial Day holiday. And with that being said, happy Memorial Day.
Councilmember Gay?
Mayor, I'll be real brief, and thank y'all for hanging in here with us. And I want to thank the Main Street Academy, Dr. Owens, the executive director, for his graduation this year, the leadership he does, and so congratulations, Dr. Owens. I owe him a shout out because he shouted me out at graduation. I wasn't even there, so I apologize. But my two children were the first class of TMSA when they were over there, so that was some time ago. So congratulations for continuing that legacy. I want to thank Herbert Humphrey. He's the civil engineer of MetroCorp. He's our community development block grant engineer. And I talked to Herbert this morning. He said, so you nice today. I don't know how long it's going to last, but Herbert is responsible for the playground drawing, and he has been out there every day, literally every day. And I said, Hubert, you don't have a life? And he says, no, it's not that, but I want to make sure my name is on this. It's going to represent me. So Hubert, appreciate what you're doing out there, as well as Great Southern, who are the contractors who's been very good about being patient with us, and so everybody's working as a team. I want to say a little bit about Hawthorne Station, but before I do, I want to tell Alan Gravitt on Speak Up College Park that, Alan, you are an idiot. And so that'll give you some more views and give you some more stuff to text. For those who don't know, Alan Gravitt is a Ward 1 resident who doesn't even live in College Park. The city sued him because his entire life was to be negative about the leadership of College Park. And even in his 80s, his life is still consumed with being negative about leaders who... That being said, I want to talk a little bit about Hawthorne Station. What I'm seeing is that there are people in Hawthorne Station. First off, you're not going to talk bad about our police, because College Park is one of the safest cities ever. In fact, I can leave my door open, and so can everybody else. We spend a considerable amount of our budget for public safety. So you can have your opinion about our police, but it's not because we're not funding them. That is just. But let me tell you where that's coming from, Hawthorne. That's because Ward 1 is over there trying to get 2 people to run against myself and Corn. And that's fine, whatever it takes. But don't use our police for your political ambition. The guy with the tight suit, you can knock on doors and people can like you or not like you, but don't use our department directors who work hard for your political ambitions. The lady who came down to speak, you can knock on doors, you can be courted by Ward 1, but don't use our departments for your political ambitions. Hawthorne is a beautiful development. It's a $100 million development. It was built on time. It has beautiful amenities. Now, I don't want to make enemies, but a third of the people are renters. And that's cool. You educated, you in your 30s and 40s. I've been there, I get it. I was that person. But we're a great community, a great city. We're happy to have y'all. We got a great park for you. You got beautiful sidewalks. So appreciate what you have, you're close to the airport, and work with us. Don't come down here criticizing us. And I'm saying that with authority because myself, Lisa Jefferson, Derek Taylor, Tangi Warrior, and Whitney Flemster, we brought Hawthorne Station to this community. We spent months making sure that plan development got here, and it'll get to be where it needs to be. I want to say this real quick, Pastor. As you recall, I'm the one who said that we need to have a revival. Those were actually my words. But here's what I want to give you some advice. You can't have it both ways. You can't criticize and pray and then ask for us to support you. Those three don't work. You got to figure out what role you want to play. We're a political subdivision. We're a business. It's a business. We provide services to people. It costs money to provide services. These are part-time positions up here. We pay y'all. You don't even have to come to work tomorrow. You can sleep in. Nobody's even gonna ask you what time you got to work. You can take your vacations, your unauthorized days off. You can do whatever you want. College Park is unique like no other city, but we get the job done. At the end of the day, we get the job done. We're a great city, and I stand behind the city and the people that run the city. But back to, listen, the reason why I said we're a political subdivision, because we can't fix all ills. We can't stop prostitution. We can't stop addiction. I know I was there with an education, but not for the grace of God, I would be there tonight. So we'll work with you, and we'll work with all those people coming in. Those passionate people that came down here, you don't even live in Chelsea Station, but I admire you. I admire that you are socialists and you just take up calls, and I just admire y'all to death. But you can't own your facts, but stay passionate. Last thing I want to say about condemnation, I'm done. So Roosevelt Park, 2601 Roosevelt Highway, one of the nicest apartment complexes in our city, underwent a $10 million renovation. Now, why am I bringing that up? I'm comparing it to Chelsea Gardens. I'm not taking sides, but it's two sides to every story. We condemn Roosevelt Park. It was worse than Chelsea Gardens. It was gang related. I was leaning with the Bloods. I mean, they literally was in the apartments. You know, we was working while they were doing crack deals when I got on council. But the way we went about that was that our police chief, our city manager, our city attorney, we met with the new property owners, and we sat down and we had an understanding. And they showed us proof of their investment dollars. And they actually didn't even help relocate people. But here's what I would tell you. Most all the Hispanics live in my ward. They all live in houses. Some live on my street. So the point I want to make is this too shall pass. They'll be fine. And what I want to tell you is every day, magistrate courts all over the country evict people. Those judges that sit on those benches, they cannot have compassion. They have to follow the law. If you don't pay your rent after so many months, you get evicted. The judges can't control that. The people in the courtroom can't control that. That's just the life in the world we live in. And in fact, a lot of the people have been delinquent on their rent for months. Some of them 6 months, some of them a year. I don't have any love for the owner, but guess what? He is investing $20 million. We aren't. We talking. We just talking. But he got, I don't know where he get it from, but he's got $20 million. He did Village of College. No, man, what is it? What's it right there on Garvey Road? Old Town Villa. Old Town Villa. Go to Old Town Villa. I mean, really, literally, go to Old Town. It was go to Old Town Villa. It looks great. So be passionate about your concerns. You know, if the man had broke the law, I'm sure he'd be locked up by now. We all care about Chelsea Garden people. They'll get through this, and we'll keep working with them. Don't criticize nobody. Just everybody, and just get over it. Work with them. They'll be fine. And I don't think I have anything else, but I just want to thank my colleagues, those that voted against it and vote for it. Thank you for your support. God bless you for it. I really appreciate you. The community will appreciate it, and we won't let you down. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussion of cybersecurity and personnel?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Arnold. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous amongst those present, and so we will enter into executive